Salutations! Welcome to Pod Mortem. I'm Reneé Hunter Vasquez, joined as always by my co-host, my husband, and my brother.
Hi, I'm John Paul Vasquez.
Hi, I'm Travis Hunter.
This week, we're recording live from Darnell's Do-It-Yourself Garage discussing the 1983 supernatural horror film, Christine. This film was directed by John Carpenter with the screenplay by Bill Phillips based on the 1983 novel by Stephen King. Following the success of Carrie and The Shining, Christine went into production before the novel was even published. Christine takes themes of growth, revenge, and obsession and presents it in a twisted love story. This film was recommended to us by friend of the show, Deanna Chapman. For all things Stephen King, be sure to check out her podcast, Chat Cemetery. Christine also beat out 3 other films in our May Patreon poll. Thank you to all of our patrons who participated and voted. If you want to help us decide, join us over on the Patreon. So, what did you guys think of Christine the first time you saw it?
So, this is going to be a little weird, but I think for this film, I've seen it the most out of everybody.
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right. I remember this movie from, I want to say I seen it. I probably wasn't like small, but I remember I was maybe about 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that car's bitching. And then it's, you know what I mean? And
It's
whatnot.
a beautiful car.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I loved the movie. And then even as a teenager, it would come on TNT a lot. So I was like, oh, shit, so watch that. But no, I really, really enjoyed this movie a lot.
I, for some reason, like Nay, had not seen this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know why. I love John Carpenter. I love Stephen King.
Yeah?
That's my thing. Not only is it a Stephen King adaptation, it's fucking John Carpenter.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I swear to God, I was looking at it because the first time I watched it was this year.
Uh-huh.
And so as I was looking at it, I was like, all right, I'm going to watch it. And then when I put it on, I was like, nobody, why didn't you tell me? I don't know who I was mad at, but
The world.
I couldn't believe that I had no idea.
Punch the pillow next to you.
Yeah.
God damn it.
And it's so a part of pop culture. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
It's almost like Cujo
Right.
Yeah.
in that fact, where if you've never even read or seen it, you may have even made a Cujo reference.
Right.
Yeah.
Same with Christine.
You know the car, whether you've seen
Yeah.
the film or read the book.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows what Christine is.
I remember seeing the Where Car segment on Futurama.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And I was like, this is a Christine parody.
Yeah.
Now, what's Christine? But no, I definitely enjoy this film. I think what it does for me is it demonstrates the ability of Stephen King to make anything scary
Yes.
and the ability of John Carpenter to make anything suspenseful.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 So it's like a really good marriage.
I love Stephen King stories that on the surface, you're like, that sounds ridiculous. And this sounds ridiculous. But the book, I had read the book before. I'd never seen the film before now
Right.
doing this episode, but I'd read the book once and then I reread it again for today. And the book is creepy as fuck. And I
Right.
think the movie does a really good job of being creepy and suspenseful too. But you're like, it's an evil car. Like that
Yeah.
sounds like it would be awful.
Right.
It sounds like he needed to turn in an
Yeah.
idea
Right.
to his editor like Sunday and it's fucking Saturday
Yeah.
night.
I don't know, a car. I don't know.
All right, shit.
Right.
But I mean, I think you're the only one at the table that's finished the book.
Yes.
I did start it. I want to point that out. But there are, and we'll get to them, quite a few differences.
There's giant differences, like literally down to who lives and who dies. And we'll get into it, but some of the changes I can see why they made them for an adaptation. Some of them
Right.
I'm not happy about.
All right.
But I do really like this movie. I really, really enjoyed watching it. I feel like if I didn't just finish reading the novel, I
Right.
probably would have liked it a little bit more. But I do enjoy this movie a lot.
I think it's kind of crazy, at least to me, how a lot of things had to fall into place for Stephen get made. Mm-hmm. Basically, it all started with this producer, Richard Kobritz, and he had produced Salem's Lot, the miniseries. You might remember us talking about Kobritz because of Mrs. Kobritz from The Fog. Carpenter named her after this producer.
I was like,
Yeah.
where have I heard that name?
And so he had worked with Stephen King on Salem's Lot, and he had worked with John Carpenter. I think it's on a TV film called Someone's Watching Me, which we also talked about on The Fog. And so Stephen King is like, hey, you want to make some more of my shit? Or it could have been the other way around.
No, I'm sure he said it just like that.
Yeah. And so Kobritz is like, hell yeah, man. And so he sends him over the manuscripts for Cujo and Christine. And he reads Christine and he's like, yes.
Uh-huh.
But he read Cujo and he's like, this is just too silly. He passed.
But see, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes. And
it's like a dog, but like
evil.
rabies, you know?
And so
okay, Steven.
The crazy thing, though, is that John Carpenter was already scheduled to do a Stephen King adaptation with Firestarter.
Uh-huh.
And if you recall what we talked about on our episode for The Thing, he lost that opportunity because of the reception to The Thing. So they fired him from that.
Which is such bullshit.
Yeah,
I still can't get over it.
That's one of my favorite reappraisals in horror history.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the perfect horror film. But after he got fired, he's kind of desperate. He's like, I need work. And so Kobritz contacts him. He's like, you want to do this? And so he took it more as a job than a passion project.
Oh, man.
But he actually said that in an interview. But the thing about it is that Bill Phillips wrote the Firestarter screenplay. He jumped ship, came over, wrote the Christine screenplay.
Well...
And so all these things had to fall into place. And for me, I mean, I think this is one of the better Stephen King films, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite.
No, but there's some real stinkers. And this one's good. Now, before we disrespect this film's dashboard, we would like to issue a warning for spoilers. Podmortem is a very in-depth podcast, and in thoroughly discussing horror films, we have no choice but to spoil a thing or two. If you don't wish to be spoiled, please go watch the film, then come back and enjoy the show. If you've already seen the film or don't care about spoilers, then let's turn the key. So the film opens on the emblem of a car and we get the title card, John Carpenter's Christine. We hear the engine start and rev continuously. The engine continues to run as the credits go by.
I don't know if you caught this, but the font that they used at the opening was the same font used for The Thing.
No, I didn't.
And I guess Urban Legend, since they ripped that too.
Yeah.
But I thought that was cool. I like when... Yeah, I know. No disrespect intended. But it makes me think like when Tarantino uses the same font.
Oh, yeah.
I love when a director finds their font.
Find your font, guys.
Yeah. Mark your man.
Belle Jolie.
Yeah.
But we cut to like an assembly line and Bad to the Bone plays and we get a title card that says Detroit 1957. They're working on the cars as they go by on the conveyor and a bunch of like cream colored ones go past, but we focus in on a red Plymouth Fury.
It is striking.
And she's beautiful.
Very.
One of the mechanics motions for the line to be stopped and he opens up the hood of the car and kind of braces his hand on the inside of it as he checks underneath. But suddenly the hood slams down on his hand and the music stops and he is screaming.
It's setting it up. It's like,
yes.
Yeah.
this is not a nice car.
She's rude. We cut to him being taken away with a bandaged hand and another mechanic gets inside the car and turns on. I don't know if this is his break time. I don't know. But he gets in the car and turns on the radio and Buddy Holly starts to play. But he kind of ashes his cigar on the seat.
Yeah, you didn't need to do that.
No. It's disrespectful. But we cut to 5 o'clock and it's quitting time and everybody's going home. They all walk past the supervisor who notices something going on with that red Plymouth. He walks over and we see that the headlights are on and the radio is still playing. He peeks inside the window and opens the car door and the rude mechanic with the cigar spills out with the cigar still in his mouth and he is dead.
Wow.
So a couple of things here. One, I love the way they use music in this film.
Oh,
yes.
A lot of the artists, not all of them, but a lot of the ones that they use, especially ones played by Christine. We can already call the car Christine,
Yes,
right?
it's Christine.
Okay. A lot of songs played in the car are from artists who died prematurely. And
makes it even scarier.
yeah, it's kind of just a little eerie. But
Christine's like, no, this is my shit.
Yeah. It is. The music.
No, it's great.
In this movie, that's one thing that I was like, man, this is fantastic.
It is.
The
He's just
music the
dancing.
whole time. Oh, yeah.
they also tend to use the lyrics in the song as like
Yes.
what the car is thinking.
Yeah.
Because
That's how I took it.
Yeah.
he puts out the cigarette and Buddy Holly says, now let me tell you how it's going to be. It's like, we're not going to be fucking doing that in me. All right.
Chris-
In me?
Was, Bumblebee before Bumblebee.
Yeah. I just thought that was very cool because that comes up a lot. But the other thing, though, is that Carpenter said, I saw this in an interview that he did with Diabolique magazine. Mm-hmm. He said that he straight up stole this idea from Alfred Hitchcock. Like, which, again, goes into his constant homages to Hitchcock.
Well,
Yeah.
But he had said that he had always heard this story about Hitchcock wanting to film something in an auto factory where it ends with a dead body falling out.
well, he did it.
Yeah.
Gotcha covered, Al.
Mission accomplished. But why is the car evil?
Dunno.
It's all right. I'm okay with
And
it.
that-
Just
that's
like that. Yeah.
Maybe we can talk about at the end, or maybe as the story kind of unfolds a little
Right.
bit, which is something that I think the novel does a little bit of a better job kind of fleshing out and explaining.
Right.
But I can't say that there's not something magical to Christine just being like, nah, I'ma fuck shit up. Like
Yeah.
off the assembly line, she is not here to play.
Yeah.
Like,
So you're telling me she's bad to the chrome?
right.
Yeah.
But in another excellent moment of music in this film, Buddy Holly's Not Fade Away is playing. We're still in the factory, guys.
Yeah.
It's playing on the radio, but then it gives way to the Tanya Tucker 1978 version of the same song as we cut to a street.
Yeah.
So smart.
Genius.
Yeah.
Like I appreciated that
I
so
thought that
much.
too. I was like, hey, that's the same
yes. I really loved that moment.
Let me
But
take you through time.
Yeah.
yes. We get a title card, Rockbridge, California, September 12th, 1978. So we are 21 years in the future.
Oddly, and I do know this about the novel, is that it takes place in Pittsburgh.
Uh-huh.
In the opening of the novel, Stephen King even has like a little, what do you call the nice words at the beginning of a novel? Dedication or something, right?
Yeah, the nice words.
Yeah.
There you go. I think that's what it's called. But he has it to George Romero. And so that's why I thought that the novel took place in Pittsburgh, was kind of like a thank you to him.
Okay.
And 1982 was Creepshow with him.
Yeah.
But also, Christine is named after George Romero's wife.
Oh my God. I didn't
All
know that.
right.
So I thought that was kind of weird that they
Yeah.
moved it to California for the
Yeah,
movie.
but who knows? I mean, production shit is so weird.
Yeah.
Like, who knows why?
Yeah. And also, this is clearly the neighborhood from Halloween.
Yes, it is. It's literally the neighborhood from Halloween. But we see that the song is playing on the radio of a blue car. I don't know if y'all know what kind of car that is. I do not.
Blue.
A blue car that's driving down the street. We follow it as it parks in a driveway and the driver honks his horn. The driver is Dennis Gilder, played by John Stockwell. He honks again and mutters for Arnie to hurry up and come out. But instead, Arnie's mother, presumably Regina, not presumably, she's Arnie's mother.
He literally calls her mom.
Allegedly, his
I
mother.
guess.
Played by Christine Belford, comes out to tell him that Arnie's changing and he'll be right down. She then chastises Dennis for the noise pollution, saying it's the same as dumping toxic waste on the lawn.
No, it is not.
It's
Yeah.
not. Plants like music.
Yes.
But I feel like this lets us know a lot about Regina right off the rip.
Right.
And how much it sucks to be Arnie.
Yeah.
And Dennis just ignores her.
Yeah. I will say this, and I told your sister that we watched this with the 4K version.
Uh-huh.
Holy shit, that looks good.
It's still,
I
yeah,
was like, whoever was responsible for this, bravo. I was
Yeah.
like, this shit looks
it really does.
really good.
I especially noticed it with the opening when you first see
Yeah.
Christine.
Yeah.
You get all those sweeping camera movements, and it is clean as shit.
Yeah.
is.
Oh, yeah.
But finally, Arnie Cunningham, played by Keith Gordon, comes out of the house. He rushes out with the trash bag, which promptly breaks and spills all over the driveway. His mom's like, just leave it. She hands him a sack lunch, and Arnie runs to the car. And I feel like this introduction to Arnie it's great
Yeah.
because you really see the kind of guy that he is already.
Well, but part of me was like, well, he's kind of a dumbass because
Yeah.
he ran through the puddle, and then she's like,
He's flustered.
don't forget your lunch, and he runs back through the puddle. I'm like, your pants, Arnie.
He's flustered.
I guess. I mean, it's nice of her that she'll clean it up for him, though.
Right.
But she wasn't like, I'll get it. She's like, just go, just leave it.
Well, if my kid's running both ways through puddles, I'd be pretty pissed off too.
But Arnie gets in the car and Dennis immediately peels out and Regina yells at him to slow down. In the car, Dennis asks about the tension and Arnie explains that both Regina and Arnie's father are mad at him for taking shop like it's something embarrassing. He tells a little story, which I'm going to repeat because I feel like, again, it's very telling of the nature between Arnie and his parents.
Right.
He says that the night before, the three of them were playing Scrabble, and he had a choice between losing to his mom by playing the word ratio or beating her with the word fellatio. But
It's a new exchange.
it's a new exchange. He plays it, and she tells him it's an obscenity, so it doesn't count, and she ends up winning, even though that word is in the dictionary.
I think he should have been allowed to play it. I don't know if
Of
we're
course, he should have been allowed to play it.
litigating this here.
My client.
Yes, my client Arnie. I do remember, like, if it's in the dictionary, it counts.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when we were kids, you tried to play a word which was not in the dictionary and were upset that it did not win you the game.
Yeah.
Well, it should have been a word.
What's-
Do you remember what the word is?
Seapoff.
Yes.
Seapof. You tried to say it was an animal of the sea.
It's a deep sea
Isn't
animal.
that what a sea urchin is?
No, it's a sea paw.
Mom still remembers that, by the way.
Well, I was robbed. I remember it too. But Dennis pauses and decides that now that they're seniors, it's time to get Arnie laid. When Arnie, clearly uncomfortable, says that he needs a girl for that, Dennis starts naming off girls from school that will do the trick. And it's like, I know guys will be guys or whatever, but it's pretty gross. Doesn't he
Yeah.
call somebody like a
sperm bank?
sperm bank? Yeah.
Well, but I was laughing because one of Arnie's like biggest complaints about one of the girls mentioned, he goes, "She's a sophomore." It's like, did people care about that back then?
I guess.
Like, I didn't realize that was that
She's
big of a
not
deal.
cool like us.
We're older by like a year. Like, what?
But Arnie finally surmises that he's fine just showing himself the flesh.
And the scene just ends.
Yeah, and then we're done. But yeah, we're done in the car. We cut to the school, and Arnie and Dennis are trying to open their lockers. I guess it's the first day of school. Chuck, played by Mark Popple, comes up to Dennis asking if he's playing football this year, to which Dennis replies yes. Chuck walks away only for Roseanne, played by Kelly Preston, to come up and flirtatiously ask Dennis the same thing. Arnie bats his eyelashes mockingly at Dennis from behind her.
Well, she's clearly got a thing for Dennis.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well,
it's-
in the book, they're dating. That's his
Oh,
girlfriend.
all right.
That's what confused me because they really just fucking push her to the back of
Yes.
every scene.
Yes.
And you think there's going to be some kind of emotional payoff, but there's
There's
none.
not.
And it's Kelly Preston.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Oh, I forgot. That's sad. But it's funny. Kelly Preston's in this and a John Travolta ripoff. But
Yeah.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yes.
But she walks away, and then Bemis, played by Douglas Warhick, comes up.
I'm sorry, what?
What, Bemis?
Yeah. No offense to anyone named Bemis, but I've...
It's an interesting name. But
it's a
he comes
choice.
up, he comes up to tell Dennis to watch out for Roseanne because he doesn't know where she's been. Arnie starts to make fun of Bemis, but Bemis tells him to shut up and tells Dennis about the new girl. He's in love. She looks smart, but she has the body of a slut, which is what every girl wants to hear. In fact, here she comes now.
I just want to point out that when he gave that kind of a description, I had something in mind.
And this wasn't it.
No, I did not expect her to be dressed like someone's dad on the golf course. She's got an Argyle sweater and fucking,
She did, yeah.
like, I think her dad's shorts.
She was dressed smartly, I would say. It was just a nice outfit.
In the
Bemis
80s.
needs to
Yeah.
chill. Yeah.
I didn't understand that either. I was like, she's wearing normal clothes,
Yes.
dude.
Yeah.
Calm down,
He
Bemis.
needs to stop thinking with his Bemis.
But we see her, Lee Cabot, played by Alexandra Paul, walking down the hall with the principal. She smiles at the three boys who are all just staring at her, and Bemis says he wants to have deep, meaningful sex with her and rushes off to shoot a shot. He's got a goal.
I mean, I respect it. I don't know what to say. One thing I will say is that this scene does a great job of showing the difference between Arnie and Dennis.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Dennis is like the coolest motherfucker alive.
And Arnie's just in the
He's
background.
just there.
Yeah.
Can't even get his locker open.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dennis is like distractedly looking after Bemis and what's going on. Was he going to go hit on her in front of the principal?
I guess.
guess.
Yeah.
But whatever. And isn't everybody new? Isn't it the first day of school?
Yeah.
So why is the principal showing her around?
Because she's cute.
Okay. She's the
That's
body of a
even
slut.
creepier.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
Yeah. No thanks. But anyway, he's staring after Bemis and kind of distractedly helps Arnie with his stuck locker before rushing off. So yeah. And then it closes and then Arnie can't open it.
Yeah. And then he's gone.
Yeah.
No, Dennis is
He's like, I
gone.
did it once.
What I thought was funny about this scene was that people kept coming out of nowhere to bother Dennis. I was like, God damn.
He's Mr. Popular.
Yeah.
He's the man. Yeah. And Arnie's just watching from afar.
Yeah, he's like, can you help me with this locker? But we cut to Dennis waiting for Arnie at lunch. When he asks if anybody's seen him, somebody says that he's still in shot because Buddy Repperton has his lunch.
Thanks for helping.
Yeah. Oh, no, he's getting his ass kicked
You might want to get in there fast.
fast. Roseanne tries to say hi to Dennis, but he just rushes past her to get to
Again,
the
that's
shop.
what I'm saying. I'm like, you've done this twice in the span of 2 minutes and you're not going to do anything with it.
That's all it is. But when he arrives, he sees a group of kids watching as Buddy Repperton, played by William Ostrander, taunts Arnie while holding his lunch, and his friends Moochie, played by Malcolm Denaire, and Rich, played by Stephen Tash, are in the mix. And Buddy calls him Arnie Cuntingham because he's super...
Because he's an English major.
Yeah.
Well, judging by how he looks, he probably has his PhD in fucking English.
That was my joke. Why is the teacher being so mean to him?
Yeah.
He's like, I came here to pick up my kid and now I got to come here and...
I was like, that's the teacher, right?
Yeah.
I was like, man.
Stop it. But that was my John Travolta
Reverend.
rip-off joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I'm pretty sure that's Billy from Carrie, but okay. But anyway, Dennis tries to grab Arnie's food so that they can go, and Buddy pulls out his pocket knife and stabs through the brown bag, and yogurt pours out, and the rest of Arnie's lunch falls onto the floor.
Warm yogurt.
Yeah.
I remember when he was leaving, his mom's
Yeah.
like, find a way to keep this cold. I'm like, well, why don't you
Bitch, I'm going to school.
find a way?
You freeze the yogurt and let it thaw during
Throughout
the
the
day.
day.
Yeah.
She's like, here's your hot yogurt,
Yeah.
you piece of shit.
This is for Scrabble.
But everything quickly escalates. Dennis sends a kid away to go get the teacher before being tripped by Buddy's buddies. Arnie slips in the yogurt and falls hard. His glasses fly off. As he searches for his glasses, Velma style, Buddy steps down on them and breaks them. Arnie looks up at Buddy, who still holds the knife, and looks down at him. Like, we about to do some shit. Dennis smacks the knife out of his hand and punches Buddy in the face.
He smacks the knife like he's been taking self-defense
Yeah, he did.
courses at the Y.
That's my purse.
Yeah.
But Moochie, who clearly took the same class as Bobby Hill,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
grabs Dennis's genitals until Dennis falls to the ground. Now, I have never been in a fight like this before.
No.
As men, is that something y'all would do?
Let me tell you right now. First of all, I was pissed off already at Buddy for bringing a knife to a fist fight.
Right.
And also,
To
like,
an unprompted fist fight.
he also had like 12 backups.
Yeah, I don't.
So then you got fucking Belch Huggins. I refuse to learn his name.
Moochie.
Squeezing this dude's wiener. Like, are you going to follow any rules of like fighting at
No.
all? They just
I-
fight dirty.
I think what had me was, I guess that's one way to get him down. But
I
did
mean,
he,
it worked.
But did he have to jerk it a couple of times before he threw him down? I don't think that was him in pain. I think he's like,
That's the Moochie special. I think my thing about it is that, look, that's if you're doing that in a fight, that's because you're about to die.
no,
And
no.
this is your only if I don't
This is
do
your last
this,
shot.
Yeah.
yes. But instead he's like, I got 11 backups, but I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze this dude's wiener until he can't take
Yeah, and how much bigger is he? How much more does he weigh
Yes.
than
Until
Dennis?
he can't take it.
it. It's unbelievable.
I can't.
I found this scene to just be very hilarious.
I
It was
just,
great.
It's
And having the John Travolta lookalike was a plus
Oh,
for me.
yeah.
oh my god.
But finally, the teacher, Mr. Casey, played by David Spielberg, comes in and breaks the fight up. When he yells at Repperton for attacking Arnie 3-on-1, they say that Arnie started it. When Arnie says that's not true, Buddy calls him cunt face, and Mr. Casey grabs him by the shirt and shakes the shit out of him.
Dude, he shakes him it's unbelievable.
That's straight Carrie style.
Yes.
No, you're right.
All the teachers back then.
You're totally right. Just
back when you
fuck
could.
kids up, man. But Dennis speaks up that Buddy has a knife. Buddy denies this, but Arnie reluctantly says it's true when Mr. Casey point blank asks him.
Yeah, I thought he was going to pull a Mac and be like, he tried to bite his dick off.
Yeah. Seriously. It's funny because I was thinking Charlie, bit his dick and everything.
Yeah.
Wait, no.
What?
But after being literally threatened by Buddy, Mr. Casey finally gets him to empty his pockets. He tosses the switchblade onto the floor, causing it to spring open, which was really just insulting. On his way out of the room, he threatens Dennis and Arnie, telling them he will make them wish they'd never been born.
Yeah, but he's jumping around.
No, it was a lot. But Mr.
He
Casey's
punches
like,
the wall next to Arnie.
Mr. Casey's like, Buddy. Like, he doesn't even do anything.
Well, he said, I'll knock you through a wall. Fuck! to the teacher. So it's like, he's like, look, we're all getting threatened.
Yeah.
That's just
It comes with talking to Buddy Repperton.
Remember on The Simpsons when he's like, no, he'll get you after class? I thought of something that was very interesting anyway that I read online, which is that the actor who plays Buddy, William Ostrander, in 2018, he ran for Congress.
What the fuck? Like, I'm not voting for you, dude.
Like, I saw what you did to Arnie. And
He's running on the platform of smashing glasses.
yeah, no nerds.
But in Dennis's car on the way home, Dennis surmises that the day wasn't that bad. Arnie's worried that, I don't know, what days are y'all used to?
Yeah, I know.
Arnie's worried that Buddy's going to retaliate because he got kicked out of school and Moochie got probation. Dennis is like, no, I'm not worried about it. Suddenly, Arnie starts freaking out and telling Dennis to back up the car because he wants to take a look at something. We slowly back up with the car, which I thought was a brilliant shot. And through an overgrown yard, we see a rusted, beat up, red Plymouth Fury with the for sale sign on it.
So 2 things here. One, I got to echo what you said.
Beautiful.
Amazing shot.
Yeah.
The thing, I swear, every Carpenter film, you're going to get some awesome Panaglide and fucking dolly shit.
Yeah.
But I love the way that they reveal the car again. And it's like, hey, remember when it was beautiful?
Yeah.
Now look at it. But that's the thing, is that I'm glad because I know the car is like a character already.
Right.
I know what it's capable of. Should I say she because her name's Christine?
Right.
She, you call you call boat she.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, fucking Bill. But the thing is that to me, that's not apparent in the novel. When they first see Christine, it's just a car, right?
It is, but I feel like that works for what Christine is in the novel.
Right.
What Christine is in the film. It's kind of nice to have that little teaser and then, the bitch is back.
Yeah. See, that's why I like the movie, like you just said, because it does. The car already had character. So I already know who you are.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And now we're worried for Arnie.
Immediately. But enamored, Arnie gets out of Dennis's car and rushes over to look at Christine. Dennis tells him that it's a piece of shit, but Arnie's like, no, I can fix her up. It's fine. He slides behind the wheel and we see that the car has 93,000 miles on it. Dennis is like, it probably won't even start, but they're interrupted by an elderly man wearing a back brace. He says it will start, it just needs the keys. Arnie stands up and he's like, what do you want for it? No matter what you want, it's not enough. Dennis is like, God damn it.
It's like, have you ever bought anything?
Yeah, no.
Do you know how to haggle, like, at all?
The old man asks if Arnie's ever owned a car, and Dennis is like, oh yeah, he has a Mustang. And Arnie's like, no, I haven't. I just got my license. The old man finally introduces himself as George LeBay, played by Roberts Blossom. He gives Arnie the keys to start the car. Arnie does, and the engine revs, and George LeBay tells him her name is Christine.
Ooh.
Right? He says that his brother got her in September of 1957. She was brand new and smelled like a new car, and that's the finest smell in the world, except maybe pussy. Those are his words and not mine.
You're like, that's not my commentary on the bottom. See, in this part, okay, as I said, I did start the novel.
Right.
This shit is word for word.
It is. It really is.
With the exception of...
that's... Should I talk about it now?
Talk about it.
No.
Because you know a specific thing that bothers you.
We'll talk about it in a minute.
Okay. All right.
George says that when his brother got Christine, she only had 6 miles on her and that this car's been through a lot. Dennis asks, why is his brother selling her if he loves her so much? And George explains that his brother died 6 weeks ago. And it's like, well, fuck, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Arnie asks how much he wants for her for the third time. He's like, no, but for real, let's talk about money. And George says that he's been asking for $300, but he'll make it $250 for Arnie, which I think is like $1,000 today.
Yeah. It makes me laugh because fucking Dennis is like, you can get a really decent car for $250.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wait, what?
Shit like that, dude. When we watch these old movies, I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it hurts.
physically hurts me.
I forgot, like at this time, you could go to college for like 5 of those box top for education things.
That was tuition,
That's
man.
a full ride.
But Dennis says that the car isn't even worth $50. George says that they can't bring it back here because he's selling the house and buying a condo. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Arnie immediately says it's a deal, and George goes inside to get the paperwork. Once the old man is gone, Dennis chastises him, saying, like you said, you can get a really good car for that kind of money.
And it hurt.
And that George LeBay is fucking weird.
In all fairness, he is. There's a lot of interesting character choices with George.
Yeah.
Also, I want to talk about the fucks in this movie.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this film isn't violent enough to be rated R.
Right.
And there was no PG-13. There was PG and then R.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, nobody's going to want to see this. Nobody's going to want to see a PG-rated horror movie.
Yeah.
So they turned up the fucks
Dude.
and the crude dialogue.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's quite a bit of it. But,
There is.
I mean, any Stephen King novel, there's stuff
I know,
that's like,
that's why
dude.
I read that and I was
Yeah.
like, it
Yeah,
didn't
you're
even
right.
seem overly
No.
so to me. Like,
And
maybe I just say fuck a lot.
It made me wonder because I know that we had read about Carpenter getting all that bad stuff with The Thing,
Yeah.
saying it was gruesome and needlessly violent and all
Right.
that. So it's like, well, maybe this was like an answer to that to tone it down.
Maybe.
And then the studio's like, no, tone up them fucks, sir.
All right.
All right.
But Arnie rationalizes, this is a good car. He's been saving all summer, and at 20 years old, Christine is officially an antique. He's buying her no matter what Dennis says. Dennis finally gives up and goes over to George to ask him to give Arnie a break because he's just a stupid kid. George is like, you don't know half as much as you think you do.
It's like, damn.
I don't
Yeah.
no, my friend is a stupid kid.
And that line, there's a lot of repurposing of lines in the novel used in different places. Again, from my limited knowledge of the novel. But that line was said at a later point in a much sadder way. But in here, he's like, man, your friend is about to fuck up. Like there's some like intent in the way that he says it.
Yeah, there is. But we cut to Arnie's house.
And he calls him a shitter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is very important. But we cut to Arnie's house with Regina asking Arnie, you did what?
He borrowed your nail clippers.
What's the big deal? But they stand in the kitchen with Dennis and also Arnie's dad, Michael, played by Robert Darnell. Regina tells Arnie that he's too young to buy a car, but Arnie corrects her. He's 17. He can buy it on his own, but he does need their permission to register.
In all fairness.
He tells her that everything in this house is a committee meeting and he always gets outvoted 2-1. But this isn't a meeting. It's his choice and he made it. So Regina turns on Dennis for letting him do it.
When she does, Dennis literally looks behind him like, oh,
Me?
I know
Yeah.
you're not.
Well, the weird thing to me was like he's standing there drinking milk. Like it's his house.
Yeah.
It's like
I
she's
feel like-
yelling at his friend. Is like, what the fuck?
I was like, is this a Clockwork Orange? Like, what the hell?
He's a McPoyle.
He's like, you should have seen Christine. It was real horror show. It's like, what?
What is happening?
Yeah.
But Dennis says he tried to talk him out of it, but Regina's like, well, I doubt you tried very hard. It's like, bitch.
You weren't even
I
there.
know, she's horrible. But Dennis is like, it's time to leave. But the fight starts escalating. Arnie says he's done everything they've ever wanted for the last 17 years, but he's going to have this one thing his way. Regina puts her foot down, saying he's not keeping the car at this house. Arnie's like, bet, and leaves. And Dennis awkwardly leaves behind him. We cut to Arnie driving Christine into Darnell's do-it-yourself garage. The car is shaking. Smoke is billowing out of it, and it only has one headlight, wallflower style. Remember
You
that
guys
song?
remember that?
We can drive it home. Anyway.
Copyright.
I only sang a little piece.
Yeah.
The sign on the garage door says honk for entry, and Arnie has to get out of the car and ask Dennis to honk because his horn, Christine's horn, doesn't work. Once inside, Will Darnell, played by Robert Prosky, yells at Arnie to park it at stall 20 and turn it off before they all choke to death. There's a table of men playing cards in the background. And as Arnie parks, Darnell chastises Dennis for selling Arnie I'm like, give me a fucking break.
It's unbelievable. He's like, why am I in trouble with it?
He chastises Dennis for selling him that car. But when he finds out what happened, he tells Dennis he should have tried harder to keep Arnie from buying it. As they walk over to him, Darnell tells Dennis that he knew a mean guy who had a car just like this, but he killed himself in it.
Yeah.
So I do want to point out, Darnell's a character.
He absolutely is.
I like that dude.
Yes, I appreciate him a lot. But I do want to say, with him saying that, the story he tells, it reminds me of when Dr. Loomis and that guy were in the graveyard on Halloween, and the dude's telling him the story about a guy that hacked up his family, and Loomis is like, hey, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. You
What was that thing you said?
Was it this car that guy
Yes.
killed himself in?
What was the guy's name? Was it LeBay?
Yeah, because that's
Yeah, right.
important.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, he does not elaborate. He turns to Arnie and starts laying down the rules. If he ever runs the car without an exhaust pipe again, he's out. There's no smoking in here, despite the fact that Darnell himself is smoking. And Dennis draws attention to the men smoking at the card table, and Darnell's like, this motherfucker's
Yeah.
gonna get you
Yeah.
kicked out. But if Arnie smokes, he's out. If he screws up once, he's out, no matter how much money he's paid up front. This place is for working stiffs, not rich, spoiled kids. Arnie literally just cowers and agrees to all the rules. And Dennis flips Darnell off behind his back, and Darnell's like, get out. The shop is closed.
I do want to point out, I thought it was very cool. I learned they had a cast interview featuring John Carpenter
Oh, cool.
at Texas Frightmare Weekend in 2010. Of course, before we all started going.
Yes.
But this location was actually an abandoned factory, and they used half the space to film this like Darnell situation. And the other half of the space was to repair and repaint all the Christines they bought for the film.
Oh, wow.
So they, from what I read, I got conflicting information. They had between 17 and 28
Fucking A.
Christines.
Damn.
Well, they do a lot of stuff with this.
yeah.
They do. It's like we talked about with the horses on the ring. Like we need each one to do a different thing. But 15% of the film's budget went to buying Christines.
Damn.
So they,
Yeah.
They did a good job.
oh yeah, I'd like one, please.
Oh yeah.
May I have just one of them? But later that night, dropping Arnie off at home, Dennis asks, what is it about the car? Arnie says that for the first time, he's found something uglier than himself and he can fix it up. Dennis tells him he's not ugly, but Arnie's like, knock it off. Don't tell me what I am. After some light homophobic jokes, Regina comes out yelling for Arnie. He tells Dennis to leave and heads up to the house as his parents both are just yelling at him.
Yeah, they're God. Calm down.
Yeah. Dennis
He-
is like later
Yeah.
and drives off.
First of all, Arnie can't win
No.
because get the car out of here. I did.
Yeah.
And you're still fucking
now-
yelling.
And then what they told him, where have you been?
Yeah. It's like I had to find a place for the car. What the fuck do you think? But the other thing is that I thought the shot lingered on Dennis a little long of him
Yeah.
just listening to Bonnie Raitt and driving away.
Well, he's like, God damn,
I'm
man.
glad I got a good home life.
But we cut back to Darnell's garage and we get a title card that says October 9th. Arnie rummages for parts as Darnell points out the work that he's done on Christine to some other dude. The work is good and he's done a lot, but he's working in an odd order. He has brand new windshield wipers on a still broken windshield.
Well, he just started taking chop. I mean, give him some time.
They're like, what a fucking idiot. But Darnell admits that Arnie's good with his hands, but he has a bad taste in cars. Arnie comes in wearing no glasses,
Yes.
and Darnell approaches him. He tells him that he told him he could use the pile of parts, not that he could rebuild his whole car with it. He'd be out of a lot of money if not for Darnell, so he has a deal for him. Yeah.
Starting to get a little.
If Arnie picks up around the garage and does some light mechanic work, Darnell will let him have free reign of the parts and might even throw in a few bucks. Arnie's like, I'll think about it. And Darnell's like, think about it.
Yeah.
Well, honestly,
I'm like, damn, he's being cold.
Yeah, he was.
Darnell's in the right. I'll think about it. What choice do you have, dude?
Not only that, he is right, dude. Car parts are fucking expensive.
No joke. And if he's letting you fucking scavenge his entire thing,
and might pay you on top of it.
Put the toilet paper on the thing or whatever.
That's what he said. But Arnie gets in Christine and rests his head lovingly on the steering wheel as Pledging My Love by Johnny Ace plays on the radio.
So just a couple things about that. First of all, again, the car using music to tell how it's feeling. The other thing, Johnny Ace, he died very young on Christmas Day in 1954 from a gunshot wound, an accidentally self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Oh, no.
Man.
This song that's playing was released posthumously, and another just a fun fact that has nothing to do with anything. He actually recorded a version of Hound Dog before Elvis Presley did.
Oh, shit.
But the other thing that I dove very deep in this whole untimely death thing because this scene takes place on October 9th, which is John Lennon's birthday. So I was like, is that another one, or am I just fucking?
Sure, it's another one.
Am I finding conspiracies like everywhere?
It's another one for sure.
Like Pepe Sylvia.
But we cut to the school, and Dennis sits with your friend T. Bemis and Chuck in the library. Roseanne is smiling at him, but they're focused on Lee Cabot behind her.
She is in love with him.
She is, poor thing.
And I don't want to say that it's irritating, but the entire time I was watching this, I'm like, man, there's going to be a payoff here.
Yeah.
There's
not.
Spoiler alert, there's not. I feel like I said in the book, they're boyfriend and girlfriend, and we'll talk more about this later as well, okay? But apparently, Lee Cabot has shot down everyone who's asked her out, but the two guys talked Dennis into going to shoot a shot. After chickening out at first, he finally gets the nerve to sit across from her and asks if she wants to go dancing Friday night.
Well,
yeah.
You like music?
Yeah. He's like, do you eat food? It's like the worst conversation
like,
starter
what are you
ever.
Doing? You see her doing schoolwork.
Yeah.
You're at school.
He's like, what are you doing? She's like, work. He's like, do you like music? It's the worst. And
I thought you were cool.
Yeah.
Why did he think this would work?
Because he's Dennis.
Everything works.
And look
for
how
Dennis.
pretty Roseanne is, and she's staring at him. He's the man.
I guess, man.
But she tells him no, and he's like, well, why not?
He did not keep it cool.
Not at all.
Even his friends are like giving the throat
Stop,
cut
dude.
sign. It's like boundaries, man.
But she finally tells him she has a date. Then the librarian is like, Dennis, get back in your seat.
I don't know there were assigned seats in the library, but go off. I guess high school has changed since the 80s.
But we cut to Arnie's house, and Dennis walks up the driveway to hear Arnie arguing with his parents again. He comes outside and does not look happy to see Dennis at all.
No.
Apparently, they were supposed to go to a movie, but he has an errand to run for Darnell. Dennis offers to give him a ride, but he says he has Darnell's car. He's, again, not wearing glasses, and he's dressing nicer, and his voice is deeper. Was it just me?
No.
He's like, no, Dennis. I was like, what the fuck?
I think that there are a lot of parallels. Let's just say this. From the conversation that they had at first, him and Dennis, where he's like, we got to get you laid, lose your virginity.
Yeah.
He did something for the first time, which was buy a car.
Yeah.
And so I feel like they're trying to parallel these things. He buys this car, his voice gets deeper.
And then he fucked the car.
Did I catch you banging that thing?
What was that? My Strange Addiction?
Yes.
Featuring Arnie Cunningham?
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised nobody's memed that yet.
Sure.
Just pasted his face onto it.
I'm sure it's somewhere. But he just seems generally more chill. And Regina asks if Dennis is going with him, and Arnie's like, no, he's not, and leaves. She yells after Arnie for breaking plans with Dennis.
Yeah.
You don't give a fuck about Dennis. Stop it.
She just got to be mad about something.
Yeah. But Arnie gets in the car and drives off. Regina tells Dennis that he should know what's going on because he's Arnie's best friend, but they both admit that they've barely even seen him lately. Regina blames his obsession with the car. She tells Dennis that when they signed the registration papers, they were told that the man who owned the car last died from carbon monoxide poisoning, but Arnie doesn't know that.
How doesn't... Well, I guess Arnie wouldn't care because he wanted the car anyway.
Yeah, but if I'm Regina and I'm trying to get this kid away from this car, I'd be like, newsflash, motherfucker, somebody just died in it.
It's not as clean as you thought, Arnie.
Exactly. When you say that to try to like maybe scare him.
Yeah, maybe.
But I mean, obviously it wouldn't work, but like, wouldn't you try?
Let me put it this way. I remember getting my first car. And it was very beat up, and it was kind of a piece of shit, but it was my piece of shit.
Right.
And if you had told me someone, like, the mob used to use this car to carry bodies in the trunk, I'd be like, wow, history. All right, I'll be back. And I wouldn't care. Like, there's nothing you could tell me.
I'm not saying it would have worked. Obviously, it wouldn't have worked, but I feel like Regina would have used that.
Said something.
To let it loose, yeah. She's not keeping that close to the chest.
No. But we cut back to LeBay's house where they bought Christine, and Dennis confronts him about his brother's death in the car, but George tells him it was a suicide. He meant to go that way.
So was this Darnell's friend?
Yes.
All right.
The answer is yes.
I just wanted confirmation.
He that wasn't his friend either. He was like, he was a mean son of a bitch and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But Dennis says that Arnie never would have bought the car if he knew, but George is like, you must not know your friend very well. He says that Arnie looks at Christine the same way George's brother did. The only thing he ever loved was that car. He tells Dennis that his brother's 5-year-old daughter choked to death in the back of Christine and he wouldn't get rid of it. Then his brother's wife killed herself in the car. And at that point, George intervened and made his brother get rid of it. But it was back 3 weeks later. Dennis is like, what do you mean? And George just looks at him.
I was like, what? Now, first of all, at what point do the cops get involved if two of the same guy's family members died in a vehicle?
Well, I mean,
I know you can't arrest a car, but put a boot on it.
But if you think about it logically, and the little girl died.
Yes.
In the book, she choked on a McDonald's hamburger and she died in the back of the car.
Oh, I bet McDonald's wasn't happy to read that.
Well, you know, it is what it is. But the wife was so overcome with grief and still having to ride in this fucking car where her daughter died.
Just listening to 50s rock.
Listening to fucking Buddy Holly. She kills herself in the car.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't feel like that's suspicious. Something horrible happened and the wife couldn't go on anymore and she did it to herself.
Fair enough.
But you get rid of the fucking car, right?
If it's not evil.
If it's not evil. But here's... Maybe you don't.
Yeah.
But here's where I guess I'll bitch a little bit about something that I kind of feel is a missed opportunity. In the novel, Roland LeBay, George's brother, it's his car. He sells it to Arnie.
Right.
And he's the one with the back brace. He's the one with shitters and except maybe pussy. He's the one that says all that stuff. So, sorry.
It's like, you want to say that again? I don't know why. Yeah. Good Lord.
No, but it's an important line in the book.
It is.
But he's the one that sells it to him. And then after Arnie buys it and he starts fixing it up and stuff, Roland dies. And Arnie is like compelled to go to his funeral.
Right.
And so Dennis accompanies him, even though they're fighting because Dennis is, not happy about Christine. And so Arnie's not happy that Dennis isn't happy, but whatever. They go to the funeral and Dennis catches up with George, who's supposedly this character. And he's a button-down school teacher. He's Roland LeBay's little brother. And he's saying, oh no, he was horrible. He was nothing but meanness and evilness. And he tells him about the car and how, there's this weird hold between Roland and this car and you need to get your friend away from it. And I feel like, I don't know, I would have liked it better coming from
the
Roland.
Owner.
Yes.
There is a reason why they changed that. And I guess we'll talk about it a little bit later.
Okay.
As things kind of progress. While I understand why they made this change at the time they made it.
Okay.
I would like to see some of the stuff they do with Roland here in the movie.
Yeah. I feel like it's just a missed opportunity. And it's almost like this situation where Christine knows and it's like, okay, now it's somebody else's turn. And then he passes her off and now he can go. It's like that's what it feels like. I don't know. To me, I would have liked to see that.
Well, that's in the novel when he gave it away and was weeping.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't read the book yet, so I don't know all the details, but I like this because like we learned at the beginning of the movie she was already evil.
But again, so that's the different motivations between the book and the film.
Would you say that the book kind of has more to deal with Arnie and his
Yes.
situation, and the movie's more about the evil car.
This is a
Right.
fucking evil car. Yes.
Just making sure.
My whole thing is I just wouldn't let George get away with not answering how the car came back. 3 weeks later.
He looks at him like
He's just
Dennis
like,
is supposed to know,
exactly.
but no, that's why I came to you.
But that night, Dennis breaks into Darnell's garage to look at Christine. The hood is shiny, red, and new, but the windshield is still cracked. Dennis peeks into the car and sees that there is now 88,000 miles on the odometer.
That's troubling.
Yes. He tries to open the door but can't. Little Richard's voice suddenly blares from the radio. You keep a knocking, but you can't come in.
Yeah.
I love that this car's got jokes.
Dennis gets the shit scared out of him and leaves through the window that he came in.
Well, leave her alone.
Yes.
We don't need you coming over here with that
No.
Was this car using music to speak? Was that a part of the novel?
No.
Okay, because I like it.
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
The music is a big part of it because they couldn't play anything but the 50s station.
Oh, okay.
So that's part of it. But no, Little Richard wasn't fucking no. But as soon as Dennis is out of sight, the radio shuts off. We cut to a football game and we see Dennis playing, Roseanne cheering, and Buddy Repperton and his crew watching. Christine pulls into the parking lot and Buddy notices, asking if that's Arnie's car. Moochie's like, I know where he keeps it.
Yeah.
Arnie smoothly gets out of the car and walks over to open the passenger door. Lee Cabot gets out of Christine. Dennis runs across the field toward them, but like playing. He's not like just
Yeah,
running
yeah.
toward them.
Yeah.
Arnie, what the hell?
No.
He's still playing football, but
Yes.
he's so distracted by them kissing each other that he gets tackled. He goes down hard
Oh,
and has to be
yeah.
carried away on a stretcher.
That player should get a personal foul.
Yeah, that-
That was a lot.
Yeah.
Because
He
he,
got-
he murdered him.
yeah.
But my thing is it really that distracting? Like,
Well-
You didn't want me, but you want
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Arnie's macking now. Deal with it.
Yeah, I
He-
know.
they-
He's got
he-
that sweet ass car.
Yeah.
Well, he makes a point in the book that even though, because Arnie has horrible acne in the book, and that's kind of the first sign is Dennis looks at him, he's like, wow, Arnie's skin looks clear. That's weird. Like in the movie, he just doesn't have glasses anymore.
Yeah.
In the book, it's more gradual. And
Right.
he's like, yeah, Arnie looks good. He looks a lot better, but all these girls know him as Pizza Face Arnie,
Right.
Oh.
as Arnie Cunningham from kindergarten. Everybody knows that he's the loser.
They called him
No.
Cunningham.
Yeah, damn.
But he did. He was 45 then. But these girls can't see him in that new way, but Lee is new. And so
Right.
she sees this new, confident,
Oh,
clear
all right,
skinned
all right, all right.
Arnie.
That's fair.
But yeah.
One thing I did want to point out is that his name is Cunningham, and he's slowly turning into the Fonz.
You're
Ah.
right. Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
And it's funny because in the book, he's literally like turning into a greaser. Like,
hey, sit on it.
he's hitting jukebox and shit. No. But Dennis gets hit and Buddy cheers that Dennis got hit.
Yeah.
How is he at the game? Isn't he suspended?
Yeah, I thought you were, well, I mean,
He's like, I'm a grown man. I can go.
maybe the referee came up and he threatened his life
Right.
too. He's like, oh, no, he can
Okay,
stay.
okay. But everyone runs to check on Dennis. And we, though, are staying focused on Christine, who is looking gorgeous, shiny, new. We cut to a hospital and we get a card that reads November 5th. Arnie comes into Dennis's hospital room. He's wearing a neck brace and his leg is in a cast, and he is just generally in bad shape. Arnie brings him a book of dirty limericks and tells him that he was asleep the first 2 times he came by. Arnie tells him that they haven't won a game since he's been hurt, and Dennis tearfully tells him that he can never play football again. He was 1 centimeter away from being completely paralyzed. Then he quickly changes the subject to Arnie and Lee, saying that Lee is the most beautiful girl at school. And he tells Arnie that he saw them come to the game and asks how he fixed up Christine so fast.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he hasn't, I'm assuming the way I take it is he has not seen Arnie in
Yeah.
quite a while.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I would imagine, I mean,
He's like, what the fuck is going on?
yeah. But then again, I mean, it's only November. He could fix up a car in a few months.
Not like that. That car
Yeah.
was fucked up.
And if he knew he really didn't have the money.
That's true. All right. I accept it.
But Arnie says that it was just hard work. Dennis says that he can't believe Arnie's parents let him register it. And Arnie's like, well, if they didn't, I told him I was going to drop out of school.
Shit.
He says that part of being a parent is trying to kill your kids. And then he just leaves.
Well, see you later. In the novel, he says that way earlier.
Yeah.
And the way that he says it is just like annoyance at how his parents are treating him. But he says it here. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. No.
I was confused.
He's
Like,
like,
what?
you ever notice?
Yeah, you ever notice how part of being a parent is no.
You ever wake up and your mom's standing over you with an axe? It's like, what?
No,
I haven't.
not once.
Sorry. And then what did he tell him? She wants my body, man.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here, Arnie.
Chill out, Dennis.
He's all
Arnie,
Yeah.
he's all ego now.
Yeah.
I'm hot as fuck. What are you talking about?
Have you seen my car?
But we cut to Arnie and Lee at the drive-in on a rainy night. They're making out in the front and things are getting hot and heavy. We alternate between shots of Christine and shots of them feeling each other up. Suddenly, Lee says she can't do this and dramatically runs out into the rain. Arnie finds her and she explains that she can't be with him in that car. She hates it because he cares more about it than he does her. He tells her that's crazy. But when she's like, who do you spend more time with? He's like,
Yeah. See, I'm not gonna lie. At first, I was a little confused. I was like, okay, I get if you're uncomfortable and you don't want to do anything. No means no. But why'd you leave the car? It's raining outside.
She is done with the car.
But then I seen this and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
I
it
was
is
like,
the
all right.
car. He finally convinces her to get back in. And I don't know if y'all saw both when Lee runs out and when they get back in the car, the guy in the car next to them is like, what the fuck is going on?
It's like, I wouldn't be out in the rain like that.
He's literally me, like face pressed up against the glass, nosy as fuck.
Just missing the iPhone.
But once inside, annoyed, he tells her that girls are supposed to be jealous of other girls, not cars. Lee rationalizes that Christine is a girl. And he's like, well...
This movie's a love triangle.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. She slaps the seat and he's like, stop that.
Yeah.
Don't touch her.
But he muses that no one seems to like his car nowadays. Things finally calm down and Lee grabs a burger off of the dashboard. Arnie focuses on the movie, but the windshield wipers stop working. Mm-hmm. He panics. He's like, that's the first thing I fixed. Yeah. He panics and gets out of the car to try to fix it. Lee stays inside and eats her burger, but the radio springs to life. We Belong Together by Robert and Johnny plays loudly. The lights come on like way too bright.
Yeah, I loved it though.
Yeah.
Oh no, it looked amazing, but I've never seen lights inside of a car that bright.
There's a shot outside the car with Arnie and you see the brights of the interior beaming out through the rain. It's some good shit.
No, it looks great.
And honestly, actually, when you think about it, you got the red, the white, the bright light. I'm thinking of the bathroom in The Shining.
Ooh.
Take a shot.
Take a shot.
Yeah.
When the bright lights come on, Lee begins to choke. Arnie literally watches her choking and clawing at her throat from outside the car.
He hesitates.
He hesitates hard.
Yeah.
He finally tries to open the door, but it's locked. No, it locks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it chunk by itself. And he just continues struggling with the door instead of trying to go over to Lee's side or anything.
Well, he's not going to bash a window.
No.
Lee tries to open her own door, but it locks too. She's finally able to pry the lock open, but she still can't open the door. Finally, that nosy dude from the next car pulls the door open and pulls Lee out. Arnie's like, get your fucking hands off her.
That made me laugh so hard because I'm like, he's not making out with her.
No, and you've seen what just happened.
Yes.
She's dying, dude.
He is saving her life.
But he gives her the Heimlich maneuver. She finally expels the burger and struggles to catch her breath. In the novel, they pick up a hitchhiker and they go to McDonald's to get burgers.
Goddamn. Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yes. And I feel like this was kind of missed. It's subtle, but...
The car's like, I know what to do.
Yeah.
Cracks its knuckles.
Just leave it to me. But Arnie goes inside to get the food and Lee is sitting there like, why did he just leave me in this car with this hitchhiker?
Right.
Like, she's annoyed and she's watching him get the food and he's acting weird or whatever. And when he comes back, She starts choking, and Arnie's just like, I don't, what do you want me to do? Like, Arnie does nothing. And then the hitchhiker pulls her out of the car and gives her the Heimlich, and Arnie punches the hitchhiker, like, don't touch her. Yeah, it's
What the
crazy,
fuck?
dude. And she brings up the fact that he worked in a cafeteria, and she knows that they teach you the Heimlich when you start working there.
Right.
She's like, so you could have and you didn't.
Very easily.
Yeah, so that's what leads to the whole Christine. Because even the hitchhiker's like, is your boyfriend always this mean?
He didn't even thank me. But you know, one thing that I'm really getting from this, aside from jealousy, obviously.
Yeah.
There is a running almost thread of, I guess, kind of toxic masculinity.
Yeah, I very much so in this scene.
Yeah, because
don't touch my girlfriend, bruh. It's like
I'm saving her life.
I'm literally saving her life.
I am an EMT.
But Arnie pulls up at Lee's house, and Lee jumps out and runs to the porch without saying a word. Arnie follows her to ask if she's okay because she's scared him. She tells him she's fine now, but makes it clear that she's not going to ride in that car again. Arnie tells her not to blame her choking on Christine.
Really?
We're through.
She says that the lights got bright and the radio came on and she started to choke, and Arnie didn't even help her. In fact, he got mad when that man did help her. Arnie says he thought she was being attacked and he could have done the Heimlich. And Lee's like, but you didn't though.
No.
She says that there's other weird things. Christine's radio only plays those old songs, and when they're making out, it stalls like the car is jealous. Arnie tells her that she's just sexually frustrated. It's like, now is not the time.
No, and doesn't he like try to
He's like,
swoop in? He's like, I'm Arnie, remember?
my hot body. Come on.
I was telling Dennis earlier.
But she pushes him, and then the porch light comes on. And you know when the porch light comes on, it's like, straighten your shit
I
up.
was like, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, bye. Goodbye. But that makes him straighten up, and Arnie apologizes. He asks if he can at least call her tomorrow, and she's like, I don't know, and goes inside.
So I noticed this, and I'm not trying to compare them, but so the first thing I thought of immediately was fucking Spider-Man. How he flopped when he got how he flipped when he got Venom. He was and then he turned into an asshole, just walking around all fucking funny. And
if there's
like,
a scene where Arnie is dancing with his hips,
Were you waiting on Arnie to start dancing?
I was.
He got disappointed that he took a point off his score.
Yeah,
like,
no, fuck this.
No.
But Arnie gets back in Christine, but it doesn't start when he turns the key. He begs her to start and tells her that everything's okay. Everything's the same. Finally, she starts, and I Wonder Why by Dion and the Belmonts plays on the radio saying, I wonder why I love you like I do.
Again,
Yes.
using these songs. Quick note about Dion and the Belmonts.
Please.
Dion was actually supposed to be on the plane with Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper and Richie Valens, but he couldn't afford a ticket.
Oh,
wow.
man.
And so I think he drove to the venue instead and got the news that...
That's some Final Destination shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, he didn't suffer an untimely death, but he was, you know what, almost like Lee. He was right there.
Yeah. Ooh. It's like, are we looking to...
Like...
Hey, it fits, okay?
All right. I'll keep doing it.
Right. But Arnie backs out of the driveway and drives away. We cut to Arnie returning Christine to Darnell's garage, now opening the door with his own garage door remote that he has inside the car.
Ooh.
He's earned it.
Yes.
Moving on up.
And I just want to mention very quickly, like he talks about running errands for Darnell or whatever. In the book, he's literally running drugs and cigarettes across state lines for this man. Yes.
In the movie, it's car parts. Which I think fits the movie better.
Yeah.
It does because there's a whole sting operation against Darnell in the book.
But if he's like, Dennis, we can't go to the movies. I got to run this coke across.
I mean, he was though.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. But while the garage door is open, Buddy Repperton and his little cronies run inside. Arnie leaves and closes the garage behind him, completely oblivious. Now alone in the garage, they cheer and surround Christine. With hammers and knives, they destroy her inside and out.
Imagine hating a nerd this much.
I know, dude.
Like,
I
doubt Buddy even wanted to be in school.
Exactly. In your mind, he got you expelled, which he wasn't the reason you got expelled. But in your mind, that's what it is. You still came at him like you started that fight with a knife for why?
Because he wanted his yogurt.
Yeah, his hot yogurt.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. And I did read that each of the people destroying the car actually hurt themselves in the process.
I'm sure they did.
Because they're going nuts,
I was
man.
gonna say they're going
Dude
fucking
almost
ham.
falls when
He does.
when he jumps on the hood. I was like, oh shit, that looked real.
It did.
Be
and
careful.
They leave that take in.
He's like, I'm not jumping up there.
Yeah.
But while Moochie's inside slicing up the seats, the radio comes on and Little Richard says again, you keep a knocking, but you can't come in. And Moochie's like, yes, I can, and smashes it with a hammer. The next morning, Arnie and Lee come to the garage because he's left his wallet in the car. And he convinces her to walk inside with him, which I don't know what he did because Lee's like, okay, I guess let's ride in the car again.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Maybe he's getting the wallet and they're going to take the bus.
You know what it is that fucking sweet ass red jacket he's got on.
Who can resist?
I was like,
Who
man, I
could?
was like, all right.
So I do want to point out, because there is a massive difference between how he left Lee and how him and Lee are right now.
Yeah.
I read that there are 30 minutes of deleted scenes of this film. And
30 minutes?
Yeah.
30 minutes. And so I'm wondering, like, some of these character moments that we don't really get to see, because there are moments where it just kind of jumps and you're like, well, but didn't you hate him last night?
Yeah.
I wonder if a lot of that stuff is answered
Probably
in those scenes.
There is also a deleted subplot that when I was like, we'll talk about it later, it involves that, but we will get there.
Okay.
But they're walking happy and hand in hand, and Arnie's like, we should apply to the same colleges and, whatever. But he's happy until he rounds the corner and sees the wreckage that was once Christine. It's in worse shape than when he bought it.
Yeah.
Lee asks who did this as Arnie just stares. He like squeezes her hand so hard that she's like, Arnie. But she finally touches his shoulder and he turns on her. He grabs her and pushes her away, calling her a shitter and telling her that this is exactly what she wanted.
Okay, so I was with him being hurt. And then when he turned on Lee, I was like, okay, no, this is way beyond the pale.
Too far beyond the pale.
I would have just cried.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
I think anybody would have, but
like,
he's like,
I
no,
need a
fuck
moment.
you, Lee. It's like, wait, what?
It's like she wished for it the night before. I just feel like, and that's the huge turning point, because now not only is he fucking like being an asshole, he's putting his hands on her.
Oh, and he does.
And so it's like, this is just a descent.
Yeah, but he's not done.
Oh, no.
We cut to Arnie's house and the Cunninghams sit at dinner and Regina apologizes for what happened to the car. Arnie's like, okay, well, it's your fault for not letting me park the car here. This would never have happened if it weren't for her, according to Arnie. Regina's like, can we talk about this like rational human beings? And Arnie's like, they took a shit on the dashboard of my car, Mom. Just the way he says it, like if that doesn't put it in perspective for you, I don't know what to tell you.
Can we just say how the logistics of shitting on a dashboard are kind of... I don't even think that's possible.
I think a hood would make more sense.
I think you'd have to monkey it into your hand and then put it on the...
Well, unless they broke the windshield and he kind of...
Oh, that's true.
Just stuck his ass in. Broken
From
glass,
the hood?
though.
Oh, yeah.
Well, be careful.
Yeah, I would be careful
They
doing that.
really want... That was a statement they wanted to make. But Michael speaks up and he's like, me and your mother will buy you a new car. And Arnie sneers that this is what everyone wanted and tells them, fuck you, because he's just going to fix Christine up again.
They're like, I can't believe this.
So they're clutching their pearls.
They are.
And Regina starts to cry, but Arnie just gets up and fucking leaves the room.
Doesn't he say, I'm going to bed?
Yeah. Well, Michael follows him and grabs him, telling him to go apologize to his mother. And Arnie tells him to get his hands off of him, calls his father a motherfucker.
Yes, he does.
Michael pushes him against the wall, and Arnie wraps his hand around his father's throat.
Dude, so I'm like, did Christine give him super strength? Because like this is when the symbiote takes over and he just fucking grabs him. I don't know. And the fact that this is basically it. Like there's not any fallout from him having choked his father in the living room.
He chokes him out, or not chokes him out.
The ref checks his arm, it's limp.
He lightly chokes him and then is like, I'm hitting the sack, and just goes upstairs.
I don't know why in my mind, I don't know if this happened, but did he pat him on the cheek like a...
I should have.
I feel like he did.
Michael's
it's just unbelievable.
like, well, I never.
Yeah, I can't speak for that guy, but that's not happening.
You would follow him up the stairs.
Oh, no. Your sister asked me that last night. She was like, so I was like, he wouldn't have made it that far.
Like, no, he'd be going to sleep.
No.
You're not gonna casually walk upstairs.
No, man.
He's like, night, Dad. We cut to Darnell's garage and we get a shot of the busted engine as Arnie leans on Christine and tells her if they work together, they'll make it better and no one can hurt them anymore. He says they'll show those shitters. Suddenly we hear noises and Arnie goes over to see that the engine has repaired itself. He smiles. I would be like, what the fuck?
See, and that's my thing. I'm like, Christine's gotten to him.
Yeah, no, he's down.
He's not shocked.
He's like,
not...
gotcha, bitch, let's do this. But he steps back to get a good look at the whole car and he tells her to show him.
Yeah.
And the headlights come on. Christine is like, I thought you'd never ask. We watch as Christine's tires reinflate. The dents in the brakes in her body repair and set themselves straight. The glass fixes itself. And in just a few short moments, Christine looks good as new.
So there are a couple things I just want to say about how they did this.
Please.
They basically had, as I said, like anywhere between 17 and 28 Christines.
Yeah.
So with one of the stunt doubles for the car, they used hydraulic pumps, which kind of crumpled the panel and the body. And then they took shots of that happening and then reversed the footage.
That's genius.
And you kind of see it coming back to life.
Yeah.
But the other thing that was very interesting to me is I read that a lot of the metal in this scene was actually plastic because plastic looks more like metal on screen.
You got to use horses.
Exactly. You just tape a bunch of cats together. Yes. So I just thought that was so cool. And again, I know for a fact if they ever remade Christine, this would all be CGI.
Oh, it would.
Yeah.
But
it looks cool as fuck.
It
I
does.
was like, wow, the whole time I was watching it.
I do want to make a confession, and I love you, and I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
But I was slightly aroused watching that. I was like, man, that
Slightly.
Well, it's in 4K, so I was like, all right. I was like, this.
It took it up a notch.
Yeah.
But in the book, Arnie, like, I guess can drive her as long as she keeps moving. She can repair herself.
Just like Wolverine.
Well, right. But that night where he's, this transformation is happening or whatever, Arnie hurts his back and has to start wearing a back brace.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. But, and then he can't remember how he hurt himself.
See, and that's why they shouldn't have given a back brace to George.
That's my thing.
Period.
He shouldn't have had the back brace. He shouldn't have been calling anybody shitter. It doesn't make any sense.
If he had driven the car.
Exactly. I was literally like, oh, we're going to find out. Plot twist. That's really Roland. Like, that's not, but it never happens. But we cut to a street where Moochie is being dropped off by a truck driver. The trucker drives away, leaving Moochie to walk alone in the dark. He hears Little Bitty Pretty One by Thurston Harris begin to play and goes to investigate. He sees Christine. I think we're both laughing at the same part already.
I know.
He sees Christine idling and looks confused. The engine revs and the car slowly moves down the street toward him. He calls out to Arnie and is like, "You're not mad, are you?"
What do you think?
Right.
You destroyed.
Right?
I literally laughed out loud.
I did too. He's like,
we was just fooling.
Well, because he's alone now.
Yeah.
And you can't grab a car's wiener. So he has no defense.
There's nothing he can do.
But
that's his one move.
Yeah.
I thought it was very weird that he's not at all alarmed that the car
By
is
the
fixed.
condition of the car? Yeah. But the windshield is completely dark and he can't see who's driving. That's when he kind of is like, hey, man, like, we good?
Yeah.
And the headlights turn on blindingly bright. Moochie turns to run as Christine barrels down on him. She misses and quickly makes a U-turn and Moochie's able to run to another street. He stops and looks behind him, but Christine comes around the corner, revving her engine, and he continues to run.
In the shot where the lights come on all bright. First of all, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Second of all, I read on IMDb that they used, I think, double the power batteries for the headlights.
Damn.
And so that's how they are beaming
No, they're
at you.
bright as fuck.
And it's terrifying. I also do want to call out how good the music is in this section.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Done by John Carpenter.
Of course.
And it feels like John Carpenter.
It does.
And I love it.
All right. But he reaches a chain link fence and climbs it, but Christine just runs over the fence.
Man, there is that shot where it crashes through the fence.
Yeah.
I was genuinely frightened.
Well, yeah.
Because you're seeing this machine. You realize...
Because, I was going to say, you remember, oh, yeah, this is a fucking car.
Yeah. It's like a killing machine.
Yes.
And it's just, I don't know, the shot of it, because it fucking bounces, and you're like, oh, it has no regard for its own well-being.
Not at all. But Moochie runs into a narrow alley and Christine follows, scraping her sides on the walls, just chasing him. He finally reaches this dead-ended alcove and turns to face her because the car can't fit in. He takes out his knife, I guess to threaten Arnie, but in my mind he's threatening a car. But whatever. And tells Arnie that he's a dead man. But Christine literally squeezes herself into the narrower alcove and pins Moochie to the wall.
I do want to say that the subtitles on Amazon were not correct. Because he pulls out his switchblade and he screams to Arnie, "You're a dick man," according to the subtitles. And I'm like, that's not what he said.
Literally not what he said.
But I do love that they showed before this the car's ability to regenerate.
Yeah.
Because now we're like, oh, this is fine.
It doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter.
It's not like Arnie's going to find it tomorrow. He's like, what the hell happened? It's fine.
But we cut to the hospital and we get a title card that reads November 23rd. Dennis has been here for a while. He's asleep next to a football game on TV and is woken up by Arnie loudly opening a can of beer. Dennis asks where Arnie has been, and Arnie immediately asks, "You hear what happened to Moochie?"
I don't like that.
No.
Yeah.
And he looks like out of his mind.
Yeah. He's like, it's so bad it almost makes you feel sorry for him.
Almost.
Yeah. Dennis asks how Christine is coming along, and Arnie says he spent a shitload of money, but she's perfect now. When Dennis says he heard she was totaled, Arnie's like, oh, well, once I cleaned up the glass, it wasn't as bad as it looked.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah. Dennis is like, well, I bet Buddy Repperton might just do it again. And Arnie's like, no, he won't.
Yeah.
And that's when he's really giving the psycho peepers.
Yes.
I'm like, you're going to have to stop.
I was like, lay off the blow, dude. Damn.
Those crazy eyes continue for the rest of the film.
They do.
But he abruptly is like, I gotta go. And he's like, I hope you didn't think I'd be sticking around here all day. It's like, you just got here. Like, don't be a dick. But he's like, happy Thanksgiving, and just leaves. So we cut to the parking lot at school. And Detective Junkins, played by Harry Dean Stanton, stops Arnie as he's getting in Christine to leave.
Can we talk about, first of all, two things? One, Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah.
Fantastic. He actually worked with John Carpenter in Escape from New York.
Okay.
Nice.
And he was also in Alien, which, interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But can we talk about how his name is Junkins?
Yeah.
It's a movie about a junker car. Like, it's a little on the nose, right?
I think that was
that was a little funny.
That was a placeholder, and Stephen King's like, fuck it, it's
Just
fine.
use
Just
it.
leave it.
He's like, my partner, Detective Impound Lot.
But he tells Arnie he has a few questions about his car. He tells him he does great work, and he's heard from everyone, including the police, Arnie's parents, and Lee, that car was totaled.
See, so that's terrifying because he's been looking into you.
Yeah.
Before he ever approached you, which is what a good detective does.
Mm-hmm.
But Arnie uses the same excuse that it wasn't as bad as it looked. He points out places where the paint doesn't quite match and where you can see the bodywork, but Junkins is like, no.
It's a very sly lie,
Yeah.
but it does not at all work.
No. Because it's a lie.
Yeah. You got to admire the attempt.
Yeah. Because Christine is pristine and there's nothing there. He thanks the detective for the compliments on the car, but he gets in and starts it, trying to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Junkins stoops down in front of Christine, and Arnie starts revving the engine and giving him those crazy eyes.
The balls to rev the engine.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I couldn't even believe that because he's making eye contact with him as he's doing it. It's like he can arrest you right now.
Yeah, but he finally gets out and he's like, look, what do you want? Junkins tells him he just likes the shade of red and didn't think that they made it anymore. So where did you get it? Arnie's like, tells him the place, and damn it, he threw away the receipt.
Yeah.
Junkins tells him that when a car is trashed, they usually get photos of it. But Arnie says, it really wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But Junkins is like, that's not what Lee said. Lee was so upset that she cried while telling him about it. And when he mentions the shit on the dashboard, Arnie just tells him that shit wipes off. Junkins mentions that Moochie kind of got wiped off too. His legs were he was cut in half. So I'm sorry. Moochie was fucking cut in half, and his legs had to be scraped up with the shovel. And Arnie's like, "Isn't that what you're supposed to do with shit?" Fucking be cool, dude. Are you
can't
serious?
even believe this. He had a grin on his face. He's like, yeah. Now, again, for what happened to Moochie, Carpenter could have shown that.
Yeah, he could have, and he did.
It seemed like he was showing restraint.
Yeah.
Because I would have liked to seen Moochie
I want to see
fall
some
apart.
Moochie legs.
Yeah.
But
Moochie legs.
when Junkins is like, just be honest with me, Arnie's done. He's like, Lee isn't even my girlfriend anymore, and it's not against the law to fix up your own car.
He's right.
Yeah.
He's right, but he's also so wrong.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Junkins knows, but he tells the detective to just leave him alone. Junkins gets up to leave, and Arnie like wipes away where he had been leaning on the.
It's like, sorry, baby.
He's also the vest seemed a little much, but I'll allow it.
Let him get away with it.
Yeah.
Right. But we see Lee waking up from a phone call from Arnie. He tells her that he needs to see her and he loves her and they owe it to themselves to give it another shot. When she doesn't say anything back, he's like, fucking answer me.
It's like, that is not.
Yeah, that's not gonna work, man.
Again, with absolutely zero chill. She asks him not to do this and he's just like, fuck you, bitch, and hangs up the phone. You're not getting her back.
No.
That's done. Then he's dejected when he picks it back up and she's not still on the line.
He's like, wait, you don't want me to hurl more abuse at you?
Lee.
Unbelievable.
But Lee starts crying as Arnie punches the wall and then he starts to cry too. We cut to a store and get a title card that reads December 16th. Buddy and his surviving friend Rich buy some liquor, get in the car, and speed down the road to pick up their friend Dawn. While they're in the car, Beast of Burden, which to me is a literal perfect song.
That's a great track.
It's funny because it was on the TV and Ari goes, you listen to that all the time. I was like, yes, I do. But it's playing on the radio and suddenly bright headlights blare through the back windshield.
But dude is jamming. Like
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's not that hard.
It's a
What do you-
perfect song. But Buddy keeps looking back at them before readjusting the mirror. Rich turns around and flips off the driver behind them. And Buddy's like, I'm going to give him a taste of his own medicine. He stops and throws the car in reverse. But the car, which we now see is Christine, just reverses right along with him, which I don't know why that was creepy, but it was.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it knew.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I do want to say, I know earlier you asked about the cars.
Please.
And this dude, fake Travolta, he's driving a Camaro. And Dennis drives a Charger.
Okay.
And they are, but I was like, damn, everybody's got a muscle car? I was like,
Right.
what the fuck?
Well, but we know who's the fairest of them all.
Yeah.
Yes. I did think it was interesting, first of all, that he's driving Christine's driving herself.
Yeah.
It's a Plymouth Fury.
Right.
And that made me think of
Angry?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plymouth Mad.
Yeah, but the thing is that Stephen King, I remember reading somewhere, might have been IMDb, he said that he chose that because there's no real stories about a Plymouth Fury. Nobody really talks about that
Which
car.
is weird.
Which I think, also, there was something, I think it's in the Buddy Holly song, it says something like better than a Cadillac or something like that. And that's fucking Christine hyping herself up.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a
She's
fury.
like, that's right.
Yeah.
It is, man. That car's real pretty. The
It
fins
really
in the
is.
back, everything.
It really is.
Because honestly, it would have been very easy to just make Christine a Cadillac.
Yeah.
So I thought it was neat that they didn't.
But this is better than a Cadillac.
Better
Yep.
than.
But Buddy starts to drive forward, and Christine is still hot on his tail. He Tokyo drifts into a service station, and they both jump out of the car. Buddy grabs a pipe and frantically tells the worker, who's their friend, Dawn, played by Stuart Charno, that someone's following him, and he hopes that he comes inside. Christine makes those wishes come true and does just that, sliding into the service station and slamming directly into Buddy's car.
No fuck.
She's like, you rang?
I do want to say that before Christine makes her arrival, Buddy goes, he's trying to be tough, and he's like, I just hope he comes here. And like the fear in his
You're
voice
scared.
is, just admit you're scared, man.
But she backs up after hitting Buddy's car, and Dawn asks if that's Cunningham, and Buddy's like, no, it can't be. How many of these do you see riding around town? But anyway, He calls her back because he's not finished yet after what she just did to his car. Christine is like, bet, and goes full speed ahead. She slams into Buddy's car again, which slams into Rich, fucking sending him flying, dude. And I feel like it was such a footnote that this dude gets thrown into the air.
Well, what happens next kind of overshadows.
Yeah.
But she pins Buddy's car against the back wall of the station. Gas leaks out of it, pouring all over the floor, and Buddy's car bursts into flames. Don is still inside the station, so he's also presumably no longer with us.
So I think that they established that they were friends, so we don't feel bad that Christine
an asshole
killed
too.
someone from the working class.
You're better than this, Christine.
Mm-hmm.
But Buddy watches all of this in horror from the outside. Christine slowly backs out of the station because this bitch is not done.
No.
And still engulfed in flames, Buddy runs, throwing the pipe away, and Christine just fucking goes after him and knocks out the gas pumps on her way. For good measure. We get this huge dramatic explosion as the entire gas pumps and the service station completely explode.
So 2 things that we learned from Good Bad Flicks. Not only was this gas station built just to be destroyed
Jesus Christ.
in this scene, but the stunt driver had to wear like a fire retardant suit because he's actually driving this on fire car.
Yeah.
And the windows are blacked out so you can't see that someone's driving the car.
Right.
And so I can't even imagine. You think Buddy's scared.
That would be some shit, man.
Balls
way.
of fucking steel. There's no way.
Nope. Hope he got double pay that day.
Yeah. But we hear a very John Carpenter score as Buddy runs down the road. Why do they always run straight ahead?
I don't know, and I don't care because I love this.
Yes.
No, it looks great.
For me, the shot of Christine on fire with the beaming headlights is my favorite shot in the whole film.
Yeah.
But I did see on Texas Frightmare Weekend when they interviewed the cast, William Ostrander, he asked John Carpenter, he's like, why do you have me running in the middle of the street? And Carpenter said, it's a movie.
Because it looks good.
Yeah. And he's like, all right.
But she is still flaming and chasing him. And finally, we see Buddy's burning body come out from underneath Christine. And she just keeps going. Just unbothered.
I actually loved that. It's like, I'm not looking back.
No, I took care of it. It's done. We cut to Darnell's garage, and Darnell is about to leave for home when the garage door opens. He watches as Christine, badly burned and still smoking, casually drives into stall 20. He goes to his office to call someone to confirm that Arnie made a delivery for him driving his Cadillac, and he grabs his shotgun and slowly goes over to the smoldering car.
Whew.
He tells the driver to come out before he goes in to get them. But when no one steps out, he approaches the driver's side and continues to yell for them to come out. He tries to open the door, but is burned by the metal. He grabs a towel and uses it to open the door, only to find the car completely empty inside. And I like this, that she just is like, okay, time to go home.
Yeah.
Like, it's just her.
And she backed in.
Yeah.
But Darnell, for some reason, sits inside the car, and suddenly the radio jumps to life, blaring Larry E. Williams. He looks at it, confused, and the door slams and the locks engage. The seat begins to pull forward, smashing Darnell between it and the wheel. And again, no gore, no nothing.
No.
He's smothered.
It squeezes Darnell until he dies, slumping against the wheel, and then the radio turns off.
So I do want to say Boney Maroney by Larry Williams, the song that's playing. Larry Williams was found dead in his home in 1980 from a gunshot wound to the head.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Again, another untimely death.
Yes.
Christine has a very specific playlist.
Yeah.
That's her vibe.
But the other thing, I was like, man, Christine's just indiscriminately killing people. Like,
Yeah.
I understand that
Well,
Darnell was mean to Arnie.
But he's seen it.
But, so that's all.
Yeah, now.
He's like, you saw me dirty and smoking. I gotta.
I wonder too if when Christine is killing them, if she's getting anything out of it. Maybe to kind of regenerate herself, like, oh, let me take your soul too with me.
Right? Just add it to the pile. In the book, Arnie and Darnell get busted doing their shit. And Darnell, because Junkins is like, there's something about this car.
Right.
Darnell's like, look, you give a little, you get a little.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little bit about this car if you kind of ease up on me a little bit. And that's why Christine visits Darnell at his home.
Oh, shit.
And takes his ass out.
Just bust through his living room or what?
Right.
Yeah.
Whoa, I was joking.
Yes.
I was joking.
Damn.
So there's more motivation. She's protecting Arnie.
Right, yeah.
It's true love.
Yeah,
It's true
but
love.
Poor Darnell, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like he made sure that that's not Arnie.
Right.
I know whose car that is. Get out right now.
Yeah.
It's almost like he was defending him
Yeah.
Yeah.
in a way, but Christine's like, no.
Right, I don't
Christine,
care.
she should have been proud of him.
Yeah, no. But the next morning, Arnie arrives in Darnell's Cadillac to find Detective Junkins inside the garage. He's probably like, this fucking dude again. He asks what's going on, and Junkins immediately asks where Arnie was last night. And that's the other thing. When this happens, like with Moochie and
Right.
with Buddy and all that, Arnie is always out of town. Always out of town. He stops. It's like a debate or a chess thing or something. He stops taking interest in it, but suddenly he's going to go to the meet out of town.
Yeah.
And then shit happens. But he always has an alibi. He's never there. And so, again, he was out of town.
Right.
You know what's something they could have done that they didn't do is add like a mystery element to it? Like with the windows all blacked out, it's like,
It could
is
be anybody.
Arnie doing
Yeah.
it? Or is this car actually evil? You know, but
Yeah.
they're just like, no, first scene, car's evil.
Let's be clear.
Yeah.
But Arnie says that he was home except for picking up a load of parts for Darnell, which he has the receipt for. And when asked, he does produce it for Junkins. Arnie explains that he was too tired to bring the parts last night, and his mother is a witness to that. Junkins finally tells him that Will Darnell was found dead in the front seat of Christine, holding his shotgun.
Yeah.
Which, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Arnie goes over to his stall to find police and CSI surrounding again, pristine Christine taking pictures and notes.
Yeah, the look on his face, he's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is getting a little too close.
Yeah.
And it's getting to the point where Christine's really putting him in a bad spot.
Yeah.
You're making me look crazy.
Yeah.
But Junkins tells Arnie that his car was seen following Buddy Repperton. Also, Buddy is dead.
Kind of buried the lead there.
And so are Rich and Don. He says, looks like no one will be trashing your car anymore. Arnie's like, I honestly don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then the scene just stops.
Well, he doesn't. I mean, he has an idea, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
after he saw the car regenerate, it kind of...
Yeah.
We cut to Lee calling Dennis, who's still wearing a cast, but he's at home now. He wishes her Happy New Year, and she abruptly asks if she can come over because she needs to talk about Christine. We cut to Dennis and Lee sitting in his living room, and she asks what he knows about Christine because she's worried about Arnie. He tells her that he knows that the owner's daughter choked to death in it because LeBay's brother flat out told him that. Lee says she thinks that she was supposed to be next, but Dennis hugs her and says Arnie would never do that to her in a million years. Lee says she doesn't think that this is their Arnie anymore. Dennis says that he's going to Arnie's tonight for New Year's, which is a tradition for them, and he's going to try to get him alone to talk to him. Lee thinks it's a bad idea. What if the car doesn't let Arnie talk to him? And for Dennis, the answer is simple. Then we destroy it.
So they're really already buying into this whole car is evil thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that happened to her really could have been a coincidence.
It could have been. I mean, again, in the book, it's a lot more.
Okay.
And also, this is what I wanted to touch on. At this point, when she comes to Dennis and she's like, I mean, her and Arnie are broken up because Arnie has gone full asshole. And she goes to Dennis and they're trying to figure out how to save Arnie because clearly there's something wrong. And they end up kind of falling for each other.
Oh, all right.
And so Dennis feels guilty about it. No, she's not Arnie's girl anymore, and Arnie's not really my best friend anymore, but this is still wrong and they know it's wrong. And
Roseanne.
Right. This is after him and Roseanne broke up.
Oh, okay. I still feel sorry
but
for
they
her.
do walk up and they do break up. And you know what's weird is in the book, Dennis and Roseanne go to see Grease.
Are you serious?
I swear to God, starring
That's-
John Travolta.
That's funny.
Yeah, there's this whole subplot of because he did shoot a shot with her and she was like, nah, son. But now that they're broken up, you know, she's so beautiful and this and that. And so they kind of fall for each other and they go to get KFC at one point.
Oh, fuck.
And Arnie catches them.
Oh.
He pulls
right.
up behind them and sees them like cuddled in the back eating and stuff.
They're Kentucky Fried Cheaters.
Kentucky Fried cheating. And it doesn't go well. But
Right.
I feel like the whole thing is really scrapped. There's no little subplot or whatever. I guess probably to make them more likable.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And I guess for time.
Maybe.
I mean, the movie's already an hour 50.
I feel like it's interesting because then you have this like love triangle with Lee, Arnie, and Christine. Then you have a love triangle with Lee, Arnie, and Dennis.
2 triangles?
And Dennis, Roseanne, and Lee. 3 triangles.
I kind of like the way that they did it.
I understand, but like getting that first, I'm like, where's the drama though?
Yeah.
But anyway, Lee leaves Dennis's house and walks down the street. She picks up the pace and hides behind a tree when she sees Christine coming down the street blaring Richie Valens.
Again, Richie Valens.
Yeah.
Right. What happened to him? No, I'm just kidding.
The day the music died, Nay.
Christine parks in front of Dennis's house and Arnie honks and laughs at Dennis as he makes his way to the car on his crutches.
Yeah.
Like, what an asshole. But Dennis calls Christine a rust bucket and Arnie quickly puts the kibosh on that, saying Christine is sensitive. So Dennis apologizes to her and gets in. And from her hiding place, Lee watches them drive away. Now, in the car, Arnie drives down the road, inching close to 90 miles per hour. He drinks his beer and snaps at Dennis to take one too. As Dennis opens his, Arnie proposes a toast to death to all shitters of the world in 1979. And Dennis is like, I can't drink to that, man.
To be fair, that's a little harsh.
It's a lot. But he proposes a toast to their friendship, and Arnie's like, yeah, our friendship, and drinks. But like he drinks, throwing his head back and not even looking at the road a little bit.
He's like, Christine, take the wheel.
He finishes his beer and just tosses the can out of the window like an asshole. But
Littering.
As they approach a curve, he makes a show about taking his hands off the wheel, and he stops Dennis when Dennis grabs for the wheel and is like, no, I want you to see this. But Christine easily takes the curve on her own without Arnie turning the wheel.
Still, he's freaking out. I'd be like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, I would be throwing up on myself.
See, this is the evidence that he needed to learn.
Yeah.
You know, that Christine is...
Something is not right.
Yes. At some point as well, during this horrible car ride from hell,
Yes.
we see that the odometer is at 68,000 plus. So it's going down. That's like 30,000.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's worrisome.
Yeah.
This isn't Ferris Bueller where you can...
Just run it backwards. But Dennis starts to cry and tells Arnie that he's scared for him and what the car has done to him. Arnie's like, you're just jealous. But he says they'll always be friends if he just sticks with him because he knows what happens to the shitters who don't. When Dennis asks who the shitters are, Arnie tells him all of them. But I'd be like, now what happens to the shitters who don't?
Yeah. Are you threatening me?
Dennis tells him that Lee's on his side and she really does care about him, but Arnie just laughs. Arnie tells him that love eats everything, including friendship and family. But if you treat it right, it can be a beautiful thing. He says that's what we have. When someone believes in you, you can do anything. And when you believe in that person back, you're unstoppable. Dennis is like, that's really how you feel about Lee? And Arnie laughs. Not Lee, Christine.
Oh my God.
Silly.
Oh my God.
Are you banging this car, man?
No shitter has ever come between him and Christine. He tells Dennis to watch as he brings the car up to 100 and swerves into the oncoming lane.
Yeah.
I'm never getting in the car with you again.
No.
A car swerves out of their way and Arnie is just delighted. He tells Dennis that there's nothing finer than being behind the wheel of your own car. Except maybe for pussy.
It's like, you've made the full transformation. See, and again, that line would make a lot more sense if Roland had said it.
Exactly.
Or at least if they had just made George the owner of the car.
Yeah.
Because then it feels,
It really, it doesn't make sense. You're just like, oh, I heard that line earlier.
Well, I'm sure it was to, that's his brother. They act the same. They talk the same. They whatever.
That's a lot of inferring.
If you met me and my brother in high school and you heard us talk, you'd be like, what the hell?
But if a car turned one of you evil,
Well,
and then
I'm sure you'd still
and
be
then you
able
talk
to tell
like
I'm
post evil car, your brother, that would be a little weird.
Well, yeah.
When you put it that way.
But I mean, and you were telling me that in the novel,
Yeah.
Roland used to, whenever Arnie was off the deep end,
Yeah.
Roland would appear in the car with him.
Yes.
And chat with him and stuff.
Because that's the thing. It wasn't Christine was just an evil car.
Right.
Roland was an evil and really mean man. and him and the car kind of bonded in that way, and the car was kind of running off of the evilness.
Right.
And so, yeah, when Arnie was off the deep end, Roland is fucking like, hey, man, what's up? Like, they're in the car together.
I read that when Bill Phillips was writing the script, he was going to include all that, but then after he realized that there's a similar ghost friend talking to main character situation in An American Werewolf in London, he went and talked to John Carpenter, and he's like, I don't want people to think we're biting, so we got to cut that. And so that's why it's George only. And also, I think they said something about there's some scene in the book where they would have needed some interesting special effects for Roland. Is there anything? Does that ring a bell?
I mean,
at all?
he's like rotting and stuff.
Well, I guess they didn't want to do that. And if he's rotting, that only fits more with An American Werewolf.
Yeah, but that's a bummer, man. I don't know. It just packs more of a punch to me.
It's just the timing of it all.
I know. I'm just like, man. But cut to the morning, and Dennis is using a screwdriver to carve Darnell's Tonight into Christine's hood at the parking lot at school. He gets into Lee's car, and the two of them drive away. Now, this is leading up to the final showdown.
Mm-hmm.
And in the novel, he kind of makes one more appeal to Arnie in the parking lot at school. And Arnie is literally possessed by Roland at this point.
Oh my God.
And we get this like Conjuring moment. Won't let me go. Like he's trying to fight it. And I swear to God. He's like, fight him, Arnie, fight him. And you see Arnie for a second, and then he's like, you fucking shitter. And he goes back or whatever.
He like Dr. Vannigan's.
I don't want to see that.
He's just rolling now.
But then they're like, is Arnie going out of town? Like, because this shit only happens when he has an out of town alibi.
Right.
You're right.
So they find out that Arnie's like, you know what, Mom? Like, we've been beefing and shit.
Yeah.
I think I do want to go to college. Let's go right now, and go take a tour of the college. And so they find out.
Doesn't she realize her son's acting really different?
Let's go, Ma.
Yeah.
You shitter. Okay, Arnie.
Cal State, you said?
But they leave to go out of town, and that's when Dennis is like, it's going down tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And so this final showdown is the car, and Dennis rents like a sewage tank, and this is the final showdown.
So he goes full shitter.
Full shitter. And they mention that, like how poetic it is or whatever. But
that's actually pretty smart.
it is. But anyway, the final showdown, we're at Darnell's garage, and Dennis breaks into the garage through the window again. Darnell probably should have gotten that fixed. But
well, he is dead.
yeah,
So he's not fixing nothing.
But he opens the garage door for Lee, and we see a sign that the garage is closed by order of the police department. Dennis hotwires a bulldozer, and Lee climbs in with him. I guess they're just lucky that bulldozer was there.
And he knows how to drive it.
Yeah, but he has to push down on his broken leg to drive. And that was another big thing in the book, was the excruciating pain.
Right,
and Dennis is in the movie, it's like, no, this is fine.
Well, wait, didn't they in the novel at the very beginning, because that's as far as I got, didn't they work construction together? So
yeah,
maybe
they did.
But they don't explain that in the movie.
No.
To where he's like fucking a professional on this thing.
Well, because in the book, it's not a bulldozer.
Yeah.
So they don't even, okay. They're just, wires are crossed.
But he parks it and turns the engine off. He tells Lee that when Christine comes inside, hit the button to close the garage door and trap her in the garage. He tells her to get in the office and stay out of sight. When she asks what if Arnie doesn't come, Dennis says that even if he doesn't, Christine will.
That, I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
Well,
ew,
yeah,
I don't
he
like it.
Fucking carved that in. A note would have
That's
been
true.
fine.
Yeah. You never opened the fucking windshield wiper and just stuck it? Come on.
But keeping their eye on the entrance, Dennis tells her to go to the office and close the door when she hears the bulldozer's engine start. She gets out and slowly makes her way across the garage, never taking her eyes off the entrance. We see the entrance from her point of view, and just when we get a clear shot outside, Christine's lights blare from behind Lee. And I'm not ashamed to admit I hit the fucking ceiling.
One thing about that, who put that on that car?
The car did it itself.
Who hit that car like that?
It did it with its wheels.
Just toss it up.
Yeah.
That scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
Genuinely
No.
scared me.
Well, because Christine's like, you thought? It's
Surprise, bitch.
it is great. Again, how you're making a car suspenseful.
Yeah, and it worked, dude. Like
Even if that works on paper, visually, that's impressive.
yeah, it scared the shit out of me. But the engine revs and Christine starts toward Lee. Lee runs for the office, but it's locked with a padlock.
Yeah.
She's
Maybe
able.
the police did that?
Probably. She's able to jump.
It's like, did the car do that too?
Yeah, bitch. No, ma'am. She's able to jump onto a structure as Christine races by, but she quickly falls off. Christine slams into another car. Lee gets up and limps over to a wall and stands against it. As Christine turns to face her, Dennis pulls the bulldozer up to her and tells her not to move. Lee. Christine goes for Lee, but runs into the bulldozer instead. She tries to get at Lee from the other side, but the same thing happens.
He took his sweet ass time turning
dude.
that fucking bulldozer on.
He did.
He's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Christine continues to rev her engine as she smokes and shakes. She finally backs slowly up into her stall, which I guess is her like regroup place.
Breathe. Just breathe, Christine.
Lee and Dennis wait in anticipation as we hear the sounds of metal moving. We see that Arnie is inside the car, which shocked me because I am expecting a car showdown, like with just Christine.
I forgot all about that when I was like, oh shit, he is in the car.
Yeah, I was not expecting that at all. And Arnie looks like fucking shit.
Yeah.
He really does. So my question here is, has Arnie, at least in this last final showdown, has he been driving the car the whole time? Did he put the boxes on top of himself?
I guess.
You know what I mean?
Arnie's gone.
Because to show him in the car is terrifying.
Yeah.
Because of the implication.
Right.
But he is like ghostly white and has huge dark circles under his eyes. Finally, in the darkness of the stall, we see Christine's headlights turn on, and again, she is good as new.
I love that shot.
Yeah.
It's like its eyes are opening again.
The engine of the bulldozer goes off and Dennis tries to hotwire it again. I think I asked John Paul the other day, why does everybody know how to hotwire shit on TV and movies?
I'm like, I don't know. Should I know?
No, you just rub wires together and
Which
I would
wires?
fucking electrocute myself.
Yeah.
It's like, which wires? Yes.
Yes. Mhm. Exactly. Christine drives through the office, narrowly missing Lee, and Arnie is ejected through the windshield. I was like, did he just... I rewound it.
Dude, I had to do the same thing. And I think that is another thing that I'm like, he has to be driving because I don't think Christine would let this happen to Arnie.
No, not just her doing it. No,
he just must have fucked up.
Yeah. But
You're not wearing your seatbelt?
Yeah.
Arnie.
Unbelievable. This is a PSA.
But Lee cautiously goes over to Arnie, but the tension is broken when he jumps up to hug her, screaming, bleeding and shaking.
He
It's
screams.
Yeah. Lee sobs as Arnie falls back down to the floor and pulls a fucking huge piece of glass out of his stomach.
It's probably the goriest the film
It's
gets.
kind of gruesome.
It's tough.
Looks like it hurt.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. But he drops the bloody glass, letting it shatter to the ground to lovingly rub Christine's grill. Arnie lays back, quietly dying, and Christine's headlights turn off. I read that he would pretend he was touching a woman, like different body parts of a woman when he would touch Christine.
I think it shows.
It really does.
Because he's very ginger with it.
Yeah.
And loving.
Yeah.
The other thing I read was that originally it was supposed to eject Arnie and then Arnie's just a corpse. But John Carpenter wanted to add a moment where he's kind of saying goodbye to the car.
He is, yeah.
And I feel like that is very impactful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that would be creepy as fuck, though, that he's been driving the car the whole time and then he's a dead body.
Yeah.
That would be scary, too.
And he's like, get out of the way, Lee. I got to say goodbye to my...
Arnie has a completely different fate in the novel, but
Really?
we'll talk about that.
Interesting.
Almost everyone has a different fate. Anyway, Dennis finally gets the bulldozer started and pokes it. Like, I'm like, dude, you fucking missed everything trying to fucking rub these sticks together. But
Best friend's dead.
Yes. But he pokes his head out just for Lee to tell him that Arnie has died. Suddenly, Christine's lights come back on and Johnny Ace sings, "I'll forever love you for the rest of my days."
Christine's crying.
Yeah.
Well,
The windshield wipers.
you killed that poor boy.
Yeah.
I don't think she did it on purpose.
I think he did it. And she was like, no.
Yeah, Arnie, no.
Wow.
But Christine suddenly backs up toward Lee, and Lee is barely able to get away on time. Dennis pins Christine between the bulldozer and a beam, but Christine is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Just drives out of it. Christine slowly inches her way toward Lee, who stands bravely in the middle of the garage, like as bait, I guess.
Yeah.
Dennis is able to raise, forgive me, the scoopy part of the bulldozer.
I think that's the term.
The scoopy
Yeah.
part, okay.
Yeah.
And bring it down on the back of Christine. He continues to drive the bulldozer over the car until Christine shuts off. Lee runs up into the cab of the bulldozer with Dennis, and the two have a short-lived moment of relief before Christine fixes herself again. She's like, did y'all fucking forget that I can do this?
It's like, oh wait, you didn't see that part.
The body pops back into place and the lights come on, and Danny and the juniors sing rock and roll is here to stay.
Yeah.
She's like, bitch, I am back. Dennis fully drives the bulldozer over Christine, backing up and going again, backing up and going again until smoke pours from Christine. The tires give way, the lights pop, and the radio finally stops.
Poor car.
John Paul looks sad.
No, it's upsetting to watch. I also do have to point out in my morbid corner, Danny.
I was like, yeah.
Danny from Danny and the Juniors died by suicide in 1983, the year the movie came out.
Ooh, before?
After the movie was filmed, but before it came out.
Oh, scary.
So I'm like,
John, don't be using my fucking music.
don't dream about me no more, kid.
No. In the morning, Junkin stands with them, and we see Christine has been crushed into a cube, Mr. Burns style. Junkins tells them that they're heroes, but Dennis says a real hero would have been able to save Arnie.
So Junkins believes them? He's like, you guys fought a car last night. You're real heroes. They're going to give you the key to the city.
But Junkins says that some things and some people just can't be helped. Richie Valens begins to play, and we zoom in on Christine's cube until a man walks by holding a radio and listening to it. It's like, you thought.
Yeah.
I think that man holding the stereo is Bill Phillips, the screenwriter.
Oh, man.
There was actually a cameo by George Thorogood in this scene. And I think it was it was the Texas Frightmare Weekend interview. John Carpenter said they cut the acting scene between the two of them because their acting was so bad.
Oh, no. At least he was objective enough to be like, this is not good.
We can't end on this.
Yeah.
Lee laments that she hates rock and roll. We zoom way in on the wreckage of Christine and see a piece of the frame begin to move on its own. Bad to the Bone begins to play, and the credits roll. If I may, before we close out, in the novel, Junkins is murdered by Christine.
Holy shit.
Right.
So he's not calling anyone a hero?
He's not calling anybody a hero. And when Dennis and Lee are like going to this final showdown or whatever,
Right.
Dennis calls his dad and he's like, get everyone together, get Lee's family, all of you go stay in the house together and fucking don't ask any questions. Just do it, right? So Christine kills Arnie's dad.
Oh shit.
And while they're driving to that school or whatever, Arnie is driving. Arnie's mom lets him drive or whatever. And Roland, from where we can surmise from somebody who saw it happened, Roland kind of starts possessing Arnie.
Right.
And Arnie is able to gain control again and crashes the car, and Arnie and Regina are killed.
Wow.
So Dennis is kind of telling the story from some years in the future.
Right.
And I think he and Lee dated for like 4 years and broke up.
You're
And
telling me that experience wasn't enough to bond them for
No.
life?
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah,
So
they-
what happened to Christine?
Wait,
Oh.
wait. They break up. And, you know, they still exchange niceties or whatever. And he had sent her a letter one time asking how she's dealing with it. And she's like, dealing with what?
Wow.
And what had happened in the book was Arnie's parents convinced him to go park the car in the long-term parking at the airport. And one of Buddy's friends works at the airport, and that's how Buddy knew where to keep him. And the friend was like, okay, just go in and do what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And he's like sick to his stomach the whole time or whatever. And when all this starts happening and all the friends start getting knocked off, that friend gets the fuck out of town.
Yeah.
So at the end of the book, Dennis hears that friend all these years later was run down by a car.
Oh.
And Dennis is like, she's saving me for last.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, that's scary.
Yeah, it's scary as fuck. But I feel like this was kind of a sweeter, happier ending.
I'd say so. I hate rock and roll. It's a lot better than I'm going to die soon. Please read my manuscript.
Okay, bye. But anyway, what did you guys think of Christine?
I love it. This was great. I didn't think I would enjoy it this much. Like I said, I do remember watching it a lot when I was younger, like I said, as a teenager or whatever. And then when it would be on TV or whatnot, but watching it now, like able to sit there and pay attention and whatever, I was like, I really like this movie. I was like, this movie's good. The music's good.
The music is so good.
Upping it to the 4K, or you know what I mean? I was like, this looks badass. I was like, this looks really good. A lot of the scenes are funny, you know, but I still like this movie.
I totally agree. I will admit it's not my favorite Stephen King adaptation.
Right.
No.
And it's not my favorite John Carpenter film, but damn, is it fun.
It's so much fun.
It's just a lot of fun. And it surprises me that of all the horror we watched growing up, this one slipped through the cracks.
We completely missed it. Yeah, I don't understand. I really, really enjoyed it. I will definitely be watching this movie again. It is, like we keep saying, it's just fun. Like, it's fun and it's sad at the same time. But yeah, I'm sad that it took me this long to watch it. And thank you to our patrons who voted it in, because I don't know when I would have watched it.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So I guess we'll move on to ratings. This is hard. I always wrestle with, do I ding an adaptation or not? Do I ding it as an adaptation, or do I only look at it as a film? That's hard.
That's very hard, especially considering this was made before the book came out.
Yeah.
What are they doing it on the manuscript he gave to his editor?
It was unpublished.
Holy shit.
So they started making the movie, and then the book came out, and then I want to say the book came out in April, and then the film came out in December.
That's unbelievable.
Shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can't,
It's hard.
It's really hard. My score would be higher if I got to meet Roland D. LeBay, because that motherfucker was bananas. But that being said, it not being a full, faithful adaptation, I do appreciate the story that they came up with.
Right.
My one complaint is I do wish Arnie's transition was a little more gradual, because he's just nerdy as fuck, and then he's like, oh, out of my way, Dennis.
Yeah.
It's like, what happened?
He became a greaser overnight.
Yes. I wish that was a little more gradual, but I did enjoy watching his descent.
Right.
I did enjoy watching Dennis try to fight for his friend.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy watching Christine fuck shit up.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, weighing all of that, I guess on a scale from 1 to 10 hellish hit and runs, I'm going to give Christine 8 out of 10 hellish hit and runs.
All right.
Wow.
I really, really did enjoy it. Like I said, this is probably going to get thrown in my rotation. It feels very quotable as well. But yeah, it's not perfect. I think that there's stuff that could have been done better, but I didn't even mention the visuals of her fucking fixing herself.
Yeah.
So impressive. And just what a beautiful car. But
we all want to drive it.
yes.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe
that
not.
one.
We all want to drive one like it.
Yes.
But yeah, 8 out of 10. I'll open up the floor.
I definitely agree with all the positives and negatives you said. I feel like there's kind of a deep commentary in it.
Yeah.
About like masculinity, growing up.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like through Christine, I think that it's trying to speak to a lot of like men's fear of women's power.
Oh, wow.
And I think
8.5. No, just kidding.
I think that these are themes that are kind of hinted at, not necessarily deeply explored, or thankfully not like blatantly.
Yeah.
Because
she's like a woman.
Yeah. And I'm scared, So yeah. But I do think, I really enjoy the neat visuals, the effects, camera work, of course, with John.
Oh, yeah.
What are you going to get with a Carpenter film? And again, with the music and decent performances as well.
Oh, for sure.
I think, again, my only issue is probably the kind of lack of character moments for some people. things just kind of move. For a movie that's an hour 50, the character shit moves really quickly.
Yeah.
That's true. And I feel like we said a few times and then the scene just ends.
Yeah. It's very abrupt. It's like, what's missing here? Missing reel, it says on the thing. But I am going to go and check out those deleted scenes to see what was cut.
Yeah. I know one of them was that Arnie catching them at the I don't know if they're at a chicken restaurant, but Arnie catching them in Dennis's car is one of them.
I would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah.
But I was caught between two numbers, which was a 7.5 and an 8.
Me too.
But rewatching this film again and seeing, I think it's the shots of Christine at night. The way that John Carpenter is able to make you afraid of a car.
Yeah.
And he does.
It's just remarkable. So I think I'm going to have to join you here, and I'm going to be giving Christine out of 10 hellish hit and runs, 8 hellish hit and runs out of 10. JP?
All right. You guys have already said kind of everything. But no, I enjoy that Dennis and Lee didn't hook up.
Yeah,
They
I can
stayed
see
like friends. So it was like, okay,
they care about Arnie.
Right. So
I can totally see why
so-
that's more likable.
Right.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not like, oh, you're going to fucking hook up now. It's like, oh, you are his real friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, God damn, dude, they're trying to help you.
Yeah. It makes it sadder, right?
Yeah. I really enjoyed the movie. Like, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. And like you said, the visuals, the her putting herself back together, and the beginning, the end, I was like, this is fucking great. I was like, man, and the thing that I thought to myself about halfway through the movie was, I should have given myself time to watch this without having to take notes.
Yeah.
Because I'm enjoying this movie so much, I want to sit down and just watch it.
Yeah.
And it's not like something that was heavily in my rotation, but it was something that was always there. You know what I mean? Like I said, they played it a lot on TNT. Or, you know, whenever they always have movies, they play shit. And then it's like, shit, I'm going to watch it. You know what I mean?
We must have been watching Thinner or something.
Just about to say that.
But for me, and everything that I love about the movie and what it does for me, on a scale from 1 to 10 hellish hit and runs, I'm going to give Christine 9.
Oh.
I was torn between an 8 and an 8.5.
Right.
And my love for John Travolta got the best of me.
Even though it's
And
fake.
Not even John Travolta.
Well, he looked enough like him. I was like, all right. For
This is
that,
good enough.
Yeah.
You're John Travolta surrogate.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I give you some love for that. And then, like I said, for them just staying as friends and not hooking up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I kept waiting on it and it just didn't happen.
I did too, honestly. I was like, damn, I don't really remember this fully. And then when they were in, I guess, his living room or whatever, I was like, fuck,
Here
they're
we
gonna
go.
they're gonna
Yeah.
kiss or whatever. Because he like put his arm around her and all that. And then nothing happened. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, cool.
They
You know what I mean?
seamlessly cut the subplot out. Like,
Yeah.
because it's just gone.
But yeah, 9. I feel comfortable with that.
All right.
I do like how the car used the death songs,
Yes.
even though
Yeah.
it's morbid as shit.
It is.
But I do want to pour one out for Roseanne because I do feel sorry for her.
I know, dude. And then she just disappears.
Yeah. She's like, hey, Dennis, you gonna? He's like, I'm busy. My friend is possessed, all right?
Well, that's all from us at Pod Mortem. What would you rate Christine and what should we watch next? Let us know on Twitter at the Pod Mortem. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook. Be sure to follow each of us on Twitter at Blood and Smoke, at RealStreeter84, and at TravisMWH. Please consider pledging to our Patreon and stay tuned until after the music for a special shout out to our Wendigo Getter patrons. And remember, love can be a fun ride, but if you lose yourself in it, that ride might just end in a crash. Until next time. Thank you for staying tuned for our special shout out to our Wendigo Getter patrons.
Woo.
Woo!
Honk, honk.
Car sounds.
Yes.
A special thank you to Chris Ontiveros, Kristen Lofton, Megan Martinez, Kimberly Bass, Melanie Van Houston, Sophie Hodson, Anthony Jerome M., Jordan Nash, Kent and Allison O'Morton, Guy 54, Lala Tamez, Travis Anissa Hunter, Miguel Myers ATX, Mandy, Jennifer Perez, Pepperoni Pierre, Jacob Tyler, Carissa, TJ Bronson, Gabrielle Trevino, Spooky Mom, and Andy Teague. Thank each and every one of you.
Thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you.
You are the engine that keeps this thing running.
Right?
More car
Cars.
things.
Scoopy part.
Yes.
You guys are the Scoopy part. But we just want you to know that we are very lucky to have you on the road with us.
More
Driving
Yes.
stuff.
That's what cars do.
Right.
Christine killed people doing that.
But she's also a car.
Right.
Yeah. Scoopy part.
There you go.
Until next time.